Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Forgive me, everybody. I was outside watering my plants, and I still technically ain't done yet.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this backdrop. I thought I was looking at some seed company, seed starts back or starter plants back there. Oh yeah, that's following Yeshua Seeds and Incorporated.
Yeah.
Get them while you can, folks. Hey, brother Chris, I'm sitting here looking at this camera. I didn't cut my hair because I told Sky, I said, well, I'm gonna wait so I don't have this dark line here, and then the rest of my head is lighter. So I'll wait till next week. I'm sitting here looking at it. I guess I could have went on, but I could still see it. Oh man.
Oh boy.
It's that time of year.
Yes, it is. The time when we hit another shade of black.
Yes, sir.
Actually, a dark brown. Let me just say a dark brown.
And I'm glad for it because that means you're getting it done.
Yes, sir. Woo. Hey. Hey, bro, David, I'm gonna give you the floor for like the next 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay.
I'm gonna go make sure. I got my daughter out there watering them, so I'm gonna go make sure that she is doing all right.
All right. Well, I'll just say Shabbat Shalom to folks as they coming in and keep it small.
All right.
Yep.
Woo.
Let's see. Vulgar display of gunpowder. Shabbat Shalom. T. Waters. Shabbat Shalom. New World. Shabbat Shalom. Blessed for another gathering to support each other spiritually. Spiritually and physically, I would add, by way of encouragement, admonishment, just good fellowship. Shabbat Shalom. Brother Ronnie, my brother. How are you, brother? Shabbat Shalom. Hope you had a blessed and productive work week, brother. Brother Michael Rivera, Shabbat Shalom. Brother Ken, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. D. Jones, Shabbat Shalom. How's everybody doing? Anthony Jensen, Shabbat Shalom. Brother Steve Wilson, Shabbat Shalom. House of Lamar, I like that name. Reflecting who you are. Shabbat Shalom, brother. Abundant Life with 5. Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Hope everybody has had a blessed and productive week. Getting it done while we have time and opportunity to do so. Journey Acres, Shabbat Shalom. Abundant, well, I said that. Abundant Life with 5. Well, I guess you get 2. Shabbat Shalom again. Chris Israel, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Stacy Smith, Shabbat Shalom. Tribal Lady 12, Shabbat Shalom. How are you? How are you? Hope that you have had a blessed and productive week. Pretty excellent. That's awesome. That's awesome. We had a pretty good week here as well. It's obviously heating up as the summer months move on, so that's always an adjustment. Praise y'all, we are getting it done one day at a time. Getting it done. Tribal Lady, I greatly appreciate all the information that you have sent, the gifts that you have shared, just all that you have done for my household. It is not unnoticed, and we greatly appreciate it. I look forward to being able to return the favor. I hope that one of these days you'll be able to make it out for feast days. It would be an honor. I'd love to have you. That'd be awesome. Vulgar display of gunpowder. Amen, brother. Another day above the dirt is a good day. I could not agree more. Hey, that's awesome, Brother Kim. Hey, a few plants are much better than no plants, so that's good stuff. And they're growing, they're tall. Hey, we all start somewhere. So that's awesome. We actually don't have corn planted this year. We planted some last year and did okay. We haven't done that yet this year, though, or didn't do it this year. So that's awesome, brother. Every little bit helps. I apologize if I continue to look away from the camera. I'm trying to do a better job of seeing your comments so that I can, see them and respond to them real time. But then that always has me looking away from the camera. So, hey, just can't have it. I'm not FY. I can't look at the screen and do it seamlessly as my dear beloved brother does. So you'll just have to bear with me. Elkhound, Shabbat Shalom. Tom Sturgill, Shabbat Shalom. Big Tech. I'm sorry, what is this? Let's see. Big Teach, Shabbat Shalom. Oh, that is awesome, Tribal Lady. 20 virgin acres. Wow, you're going to be extremely busy. You will have your hands full for quite some time. That is awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations. Wow.
Wow.
T Waters, you talking to FY? When you said, would you mind singing the song you sing on the homestead? I think you must be talking to FY on that one.
What song do I sing?
I don't know. I thought maybe he had some inside scoop or something.
No. I think he's talking to you.
Oh, man. Wow. That's a good one. Elkhound said, Crow's been hard at pulling up my corn this year. It's been a fight. Yeah, those crows are something else, man. I don't have a good solution for that. But I agree. Again, like I said, we didn't plant corn this year, but when we did, and we have, and yeah, those crows are, I'm trying to remember the saying. Basically, you plant 3 times more than you think that you'll need. It's a cute, funny saying about it, but basically where the crows are going to get their share regardless is the gist of it. Yeah.
Whew. I am sorry, everybody. Man, even though we moved the time back to 7,
Because you know how we do it.
It's like all your mind says is, all right, cool. You got an extra hour to work. It's like, no, that wasn't the point of it. The point was to be ready.
Yep.
Woo.
I did the same thing, man. I came in, you know, at the midday after I started early so I could get done in time. Came down at the heat of the day, cooled down, and then was like, I think I got more time. Still went back out and did some more. So, and then was rushing on the back end trying to hurry up. So I feel you.
Yep. I was out there just taking my time, using some of the gray water to water some of the plant. And I was like, what time is it? They're like 7:02. I was like, oh, man. Had to call Tootie out. She's out there finishing watering the peppers right now. I was like, my goodness.
Yeah, y'all getting it done over there on the rock, man. You should be
I'm burning up right now.
Hebrew Farmer of the Year.
Where's my trophy? Oh my gosh. Hallelujah.
Brother Ronnie, I hear you. It's been a long and hot week. Hey, you just keep pressing through, keep persevering, my brother. It'll pay off for you.
Yes, sir.
It'll pay off for you. I got
yes, it will, brother.
Faith in you, brother.
Brother Ronnie, I remember when I was there at that point, and you look ahead, you're like, it feels so far away. Before you know it, it'll be right there in front of your face. You'll be like, oh, damn, I'm a month away. I'm a day away. And then you get that one check. You're like, I'm done? What? It'll fly. And you know why you're doing it. It's for you.
That's right.
You're not paying your landlord. You're not giving the money to somebody else to have access to a building. It'll be yours.
Absolutely.
Woo.
Rico, Shabbat Shalom. Stony Island Ranch, Shabbat Shalom. Hope everybody's having a blessed and productive week. Getting it done while we have the opportunity, i.e. preparing.
Man. Kaz MD, Shabbat Shalom. Woo! If y'all want to know, yes, I do have a washcloth on my head. When it gets hot, when I'm outside, I'll get a washcloth or a t-shirt. I'll soak it in water, put it on my head, and go back to work.
Yes, sir. I always wear a sun hat and go and dunk it in cold water and put it back on. That's why I got that line where my forehead is dark. And yes, I did purposefully say forehead instead of forehead. When they get dark like that, that's what you call it, forehead.
Forehead.
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah, it's been about in the mid-90s out here. And now next week it's going to be cooler. I'm looking forward to next week.
Me too.
Man. Man.
Hope to get some good milling done next week, man. I'm dependent on it. Be able to go a little bit longer.
Hallelujah. You hear that, brothers? He said milling. That means you know the man spending his money on things wise. How many pair of Jordans did you have to bypass? Rims on vehicles.
Oh, man.
To get him something that's going to provide him and his family lumber so that he can build. I'm just saying, that sure beats rims on your vehicle. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. I agree, brother. I'm thankful. Thankful to the Father to allow me to be in that position till I've been able to get it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Brother Ken and Brother Sister Tribal Lady. Yeah, it was 95 with 100% humidity. Literally, when I walked outside, I was soaked, and it didn't stop.
Yes, sir.
Same thing, brother Dave. Even when you get outside early, as soon as it hits 10 o'clock, it's over.
That's it. Yeah, I started at 5:30 today, and by I think I was finishing up by about 10:30ish, and I was already drenched by 10:30 this morning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man.
Have y'all been paying attention to what's going on in the news? In Phoenix, a friend sent me a message. A guy was driving around in his car, randomly shooting at people while they were driving.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
They said the crime scene spanned 8 different locations because the dude, and it took place over an hour and a half. The dude would just drive by, roll out his window, pop, 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 roll it back up, drive off, drive around for a little bit of time, find somebody else that he wanted to shoot, roll his window down, pop at that dude, roll it back up. I'm like, and people insist on staying in these cities.
Man.
Atlanta said that the police in Atlanta are no longer chasing criminals. So if a criminal runs, they just let them go. And violent crime has gone up 60% in Atlanta. Even the rich areas are now having crime sprees.
It's interesting, man, because you could almost see like the undercurrent for the making of something like the purge system coming to fruition.
Yes, that's scary.
It is.
That's scary. That's not some fantasy. You know, a lot of people talk about and they fantasize about when the shit hits the fan. I'm like, people must not have really thought hard about what that really means. Right, it's for those of us that have lived in hoods, we look at shit as the fan as that's nothing good. That's nothing good. That's not a fantasy of mine. I don't fantasize about having to play Army. Ever.
Right. No. Because once they get there, all of that, they'll just find out just how unprepared and how much of a fantasy and romanticized version of that in their mind it really was.
Yeah.
All of that will be out the window with that first round.
Ooh. Well, Lamar said it. Yep, playing dress up with plate carriers. That's right. I mean, most people don't understand that lifestyle of what it would be like to never have real security again. I mean, you could get got by a guy 500-600 yards away who was sitting in a stand in a tree, and you never saw him or heard him.
That's right. So even if you had a firearm literally on your hip, it's not enough.
Not.
Yep. Man.
And for those that have that fantasy, here's my suggestion. Take one day in the middle of summer, do full loadout, and walk your homestead and work your homestead for one full day with your plate carrier on, your AR-15 strapped to your back, your water, bladder, all your gear. Try it for one day.
Yes, sir. In fact, most people could just leave all the gear inside, just go outside and endure being in the heat of summer all day. And that'll let you know just how much of a romanticized perspective people have.
Right.
And most folks will faint just at that.
Yep. Vulgar display, so some plated up LARPer is going to get hit by a 12-year-old with a 22 cricket. Right. Some 22 single shot crickets, game's over. That's why I don't get caught up in a lot of the gear stuff, because when it's a real crap hits the fan situation, I'm just going to be real and tell you, gear's not going to save you.
Nope.
I'm just being real. It don't matter how. I know it sounds cool to have the newest vest with a mag. I know it sounds great. In real life now, it's a fantasy. I just understand that I don't want to play I'm in the army, and I don't want to play in that fantasy world where I think that I'm going to be Chuck Norris and take on the whole Vietnamese army with my one magazine that I never changed.
Right. Get shot 10 times and never bleed out.
He never applied a tourniquet. He never did any of that stuff. He just kept on shooting.
Right.
You know, they do the infamous tear off a piece of their T-shirt and tie it off.
Right. With their, yeah.
Or what Rambo did, he got shot in one of the movies, and then he poured gunpowder. He pulled put the gunpowder in it and lit it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just cauterize that wound just like that. Huh?
Oh, gosh. Especially when you think about having a family. You know, you do realize that if you've ever gone to war, now I've never gone to war, but I've been on the streets. When there's rounds exchanging, people get hit.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's a whole lot of, you know, what do they call them? Civilian casualties, however you want to word it. Yeah. A whole lot.
Right. A lot of innocent people get shot. I can't tell you how many times on the block where somebody would be shooting up somebody else's house and the children got shot, the women got shot, but the dude they were going after, he didn't get shot.
Yep.
But everybody else got shot. I like what Westholt said. I play lots of video games. I know how to use a gun. Right. I play Call of Duty where you have respawn. After I die, I just hit end life, and then I respawn back at home base and go running back out there full kitted again. There you go.
Stony Ridge said...
D. Jones, that's right.
Stony Ridge said, you can never protect from everything, but you can't do nothing either. I agree. That's a good point. But what we can do, that's a good segue into exactly what we're, you know, hitting on and speaking about this evening is doing that which you can do.
Right.
One major thing that I will say that everyone has the ability to do it. That's why Yah has said to do so. He wouldn't tell us to do it if he was going to leave it as an impossibility. So the first major thing that everyone can do or could have done would have been to come out. That would be a huge first step. Well, maybe not first step, but a huge major step of remote. You know, the wise man foresees. That means he sees it before it happens, the evil, and then, or the prudent man, and then hides himself from it. So a lot of times these things wouldn't happen to Yah's people, but simply by them not being there.
Man, brother.
And that's cooler, sexier than all the gear there is. Because if the gear was going to do it, you know, the U.S. military wouldn't get hit. You wouldn't see casualties in the military because they're geared up. And you still see body bags.
A lot of them. And in these streets, in this world, there is no Geneva Convention. People will use whatever means that they can.
That's right.
That's why Brother David, what he said was so key. And you want to remove the best thing you could ever do is just remove yourself as far from where the turmoil is going to start.
Right.
If you know it hit the cities, you know it no matter where you are, it'll eventually trickle itself out to where you are. But now you have time because you know it's taking place in the city.
Right.
If you're in the cities when it takes place, you have no warning. Your warning is when it's at your front door.
Right. You are the warning. You're the warning to those who are not in the city.
That's right. That's right. You are our warning. I hate to say it, but Pastor Fox has said it many times, your possible martyrdom may be my warning.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
And again, I don't believe it's truly because of an inability, because if it were inability, we would not have been commanded to do so. So I believe everyone is able. It just most are not willing to pay what it costs. And by that, I'm not talking about just shelling out greenbacks. I'm talking about the whole package of what it would cost. That's
right.
That's what deters most away from doing it. But it wasn't because they're truly unable to do so.
Right. That's true. And I have plenty of military in my family. I was never military. But one of the things that you can't do is you can't take what the military is and apply it to civilian situations. Because in the military, you have supply chain.
Right.
You have air superiority, artillery.
Yep.
On the streets, that's not the case.
Right. So the whole doctrine is different.
It's just you. Whole doctrine. Man, you don't want to be that guy. I mean, can you imagine living in a city and you see some dude walking down the street full kitted? You think that he's going to be a target?
First to go.
I'll tell you what they would do. They would watch that person. They'd watch where he went. They'd watch what house he went to. And then they hit his house. They would just hit his house. I know that because I lived in bad areas where people used to follow people who would drive through the neighborhood in a nice car. And they would just follow that dude back to his house, watch him go back into his garage, and know exactly where he lived.
Yep.
I did it.
Collateral
so I in no way have a fantasy. Go ahead, brother.
No, go ahead, my brother.
I was saying, I in no way have a
T. Waters. The word I was looking for was collateral damage. He put it in there, so appreciate it, T. Waters.
There he is. Yes. Yes. I in no way have a fantasy about this stuff. No way have a fantasy. A lot of people do fantasize about this stuff because they think their stuff's going to save them. One well-placed bullet changes your whole life.
And in reality, it wouldn't even necessarily take around just the stress of security in life as you know it being gone. That right there is like that would take out a lot of people. It wouldn't even be other people taking them out. It would be their inability to deal with and handle stress properly would do it right there.
Right there. Man. I
mean, you see people flipping out right now and their bellies are full. It may be slightly hungry or slightly more difficult to acquire resources. And people are literally losing their minds right now. Imagine what it would look like when, real instability takes place. Morale would just be altogether gone.
Man, imagine living in an apartment complex. Some dude goes crazy and decides to light his apartment on fire.
Man.
Even though you had nothing to do with it, you're at the possibility. And if fire services, you remember the LA riots? The firefighters were like, listen, and I lived near LA during those riots. And a lot of the firefighters were like, we're just going to let the buildings burn because it's unsafe for us to even go and try to put them out.
Right.
So there goes all of your preps, all of your food storage, all of your whatever you stored, gone. Because some dude, 5 apartments over and 2 apartments down, decided that he wanted to light his apartment on fire. And there was nobody there to fight the fire. And you lost everything.
Wow.
That's why I take y'all's command, come out of her, my people, very serious. In the physical realm, that whole come out, that's a very serious thing when you talk about getting away from wickedness as much as you can, having your own little place where you can be, or being around like-minded people. That's a very serious thing.
Yes, sir. And that's the most well, I don't know which one is more. Well, I guess it's hand in hand. People will say coming out is difficult, but then purposefully doing so and placing yourself around other like-minded people, I think that's a real difficulty as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man. Chris Israel said people freak out over TVs on Black Friday. Imagine survival.
Right. I mean, if they'll stomp you to death over some Jordans, hey.
Oh, man.
When they're hungry or them babies are hungry, hey. You'll see a side of people that you thought, oh, people don't act like that, like animals.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I know. We were talking a couple of days ago, and we were talking about how many people have really been in a fight to the death. Like, you know, when we watch fighting today, there's always a referee.
Right.
When, you know, there's technical knockouts, if something happens to a person where the person is badly injured, the referee comes in and calls the fight.
Right.
When you're fighting to the death because somebody's trying to kill you, if you curl up in the ball and cry out for your mama, they don't care.
Nope.
If they got you in a position and your arm's about to snap and you're screaming, there's no referee coming in to break up the fight. They're snapping your arm, and then they're going to use the fact that your arm is snapped to fully put you out. If they stab you or whatever it may be, if you're hurt, you don't have time to bust out a tourniquet and call a timeout.
No, sir. Because they're trying to survive, and they see you as their enemy. So it would be foolish of them to wait for you to recover. No Geneva Convention there. It's just straight up warfare.
Brutality.
And by warfare, I don't mean military. I just mean hand-to-hand combat or you know, whatever they're using. Just straight up to the death.
Yep.
Completely different doctrine.
There's no fairness. There's no, you know, you're weak. You know, we should fight hand-to-hand. You know, it's not like movies where you see two guys shooting at each other and then they drop their guns, stare at each other. They both pull off their belts and drop it on the ground.
Right.
They put up their dukes. It's not television.
Yep. One dude has that extra, drops it, reloads, and bam. That's how it looks like in real life. Like, oh, that was easy.
Right.
Got him.
Right. If you ran a bullet and I still got him, I mean, this fight's over.
Yep.
But this whole idea of the fantasy of fairness, you know, some referees gonna come in and break up the fight because there's a disadvantage. If one person has a knife, one person doesn't. If one person has a rock and one person doesn't.
Right.
If I can throw dirt in your eyes, if I'm in a position to lose the fight and I can bite, guess what I'm about to do?
Oh, man. Absolutely.
Not a fantasy. It's not a fantasy at all. So I just want to say that to get this hyper fantasy, I'm Rambo, and most of the people who claim they're Rambo can't run. They can't do what they did in the military. They don't do PT every morning.
Nope. Not at all. Because that's a young man's game, period. And that's when young people were healthy. So you can't even say that anymore.
Right.
Young people are just obese. So, you know, it's just I don't care how much gear you have. If you can't move and operate using it, then, you know, unless you got a heavily fortified foxhole to position yourself from, then all that gear is useless.
All of it. But that's just to cut out the fantasy portion.
Right.
While we come into this stream, we're talking from a realistic perspective. Not John Rambo, not I'm big and bad because at one point in time I used to be able to do these things. I used to be able to run and shoot. I used to be able to run 5 miles. I used to be able to.
Right. You used to be able to survive.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
You know, I was thinking about this earlier too while people are following in. When I think about preparing, I think people's mind just goes to some outlandish place of, well, you know, I'm preparing for this or I'm preparing for that. You know, just tremendously catastrophic events. I think about it more like this. Since the beginning of time, or shortly afterwards, some form of market has been in place from a historical standpoint. And I think until it's all said and done, from a historical vantage point, that will continue to be the case. But here's the thing that most people fail to take into account as God's people and believers. The thing that we're told to prepare for is not because every market everywhere is going to collapse.
Right.
The problem is going to be that because of policies making you unable to partake in those markets.
That's it, brother.
So it doesn't matter that it's
Tell the
available
truth.
to everyone. You're going to have one or two choices: sell out to partake in that market, or endure the hardships for what you say you believe, i.e., your salvation.
You are hitting on something so big, because when people do think of SHTF, whatever that means, they always take it some like end of the world, complete lack of any order.
Right.
Throughout time, there has always been a resemblance of some form of order. Whether it be the warlords take control and they bring order in, the government comes in, takes control, they bring in order. There's always some sort of order. We're not trying to prepare for some absolute catastrophic event where you're not going to survive.
Right.
What we're planning for is the thing that people are going to have to make choices at, just like you said. Hey, you don't have whatever it is, the mark. You can't buy or sell. What are you going to do now? Most people aren't preparing for that. They're always preparing for some sort of battlefield, war that they're going to have to go out there and be a soldier in. What about the battle of the choices that you're going to have to make and whether you truly believe in Yah or not?
Right.
And here's what I will say. I'll say most of those people are going to fail because look at how they serve Yah now.
Absolutely.
They don't serve him now with the utmost seriousness, with an utmost determination, love, dedication. They truly don't honor him or his commandments, but they want to fight a war.
I think that the difference that you see there too is, in one scenario, that preparing solely basically is comprised of buying up stuff and storing. In the other scenario, the latter, the one we're talking about, yes, you hopefully have things prepared and stored, but your bigger preparation is your skill sets that you're building and developing, understanding that that's going to far exceed whatever amount of storage that you have.
Right.
I.e., it's going to cost you more than your money. when it's real. It's gonna come. It's gonna cost you more than just greenbacks. It's gonna cost you inconvenience. It's gonna cost your energy. It's gonna cost your sweat. It's gonna cost you more than just being able to. Oh, I'm gonna buy this so I'm prepared. I'm gonna buy this and store this up so I'm prepared. That's great, but that's only a phase of it. That won't take you through. That won't take you to the point of, well, now we're not able to participate in the market system. So what do I do? That won't.
Right.
That's going to get you through for so long, but then you're right back to square one. Real preparation is developing the skills, doing the things that you, of your own flesh, may not like to do. That's why we're commanded not to despise those things, because that's what's going to save you and prepare you, or preserve you.
And when you look at the Bible and you look at how the children of Israel became enslaved, they went to Egypt.
That's it.
Because Egypt promised them the money, the jobs, the finances. Levi never went. Pharaoh knew the whole time that Levi was out there and never went after him, because Levi never came into the system to build Pithom and Ramses. He never went in to build Pharaoh's cities.
Wow.
So just as you said, a lot of people right now are so focused on storing. Eventually it runs out. What skills do you have now? How can you operate outside of a system if your only choice is to go further into the system to get the bare necessities? Right. If you can't grow food, if you can't raise an animal, if you can't, or have connections with those that can, where you have a skill and you can exchange your skill for what they have, and then they exchange their skill for what you have, you can put back as much food as you want to.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
It runs out. It runs out. I mean, or it takes just one small thing to happen. You can put back 50,000 pounds of rice and get and you get mice in there or rats in there. That's a game changer.
Or they were infested with some weevils or whatever that just consumed up the bulk lion's share of your storage.
You have some sort of natural disaster that takes off part of the roof, and most of the stuff that you gets wet. Now you got mold. What skill do you have that's going to last you past that now? The Bible says the rich man is known for his riches, and the poor man is known for his skill, and the rich man for his riches. If you are looking at, if you truly, because a lot of people talk about the whole zombie plague vaccinations. I'll never go and get my, vaccination. I think a lot of people are full of shit. That's just my honest opinion.
Yes, sir.
Joe Martin, I want to answer that. How do you brothers feel about Hebrews pushing veganism as the law? It ain't the law. Now, let me tell you, I'm cutting back on my meat eating dramatically. But y'all notice I didn't tell y'all about that, because I'm not going to push something that's not the law onto you as if it's the law. But there is a big movement of people out there who are trying to push this. We ain't supposed, and if you do, you're really, I'm not listening to all that. There are a lot of things. Right, there you go, the Adhamic law.
Yeah, there it is. It's like, nah. From a health perspective, I completely agree.
Right.
The science is what it is, and there's tremendous benefits to lowering the amount of meat that we consume, and I think that probably lines up more with how people did it historically, when you didn't have just vast amounts of meat even able to be consumed. That's kind of a newer phenomenon. So, yeah, from a health perspective, I agree with it. But to try to turn it into law, I would disagree. Just like with anything else that Yah didn't put into place, and someone says, well, hey, this is a good idea, but instead of leaving it at that, try to make it as if it's a law and you're better because you do it, or this person's worse because they don't.
We don't do
I just
that.
say people's hands are full with actually following and adhering to the laws that y'all actually put in place.
Right. Like Joe Martin said, I appreciate you. Me either. I like certain grass-fed beef and avoid Mickey D's. Right. Now me, I'm not a big beef eater. I'm not a big beef eater. But you know what? It doesn't make, I used to be a big chicken fan, and I still like chicken. I'm trying to raise my own instead of going to the store. So that's why my meat eating consumption has been cut back dramatically, is because we decided that we're not going to go out and buy any more chicken. So we're only going to eat what we produce. Well, right now, we don't have meat birds, and I don't plan on buying any. So the whole idea of, having a big smorgasbord of meat is not going to happen for me anymore. But if a person over there wants to eat hamburgers every single day, is it expedient? Probably not. Is he a lawbreaker? No. No.
Unless, and I will say the only caveat to that, in my opinion, would be a riotous eater of meat. A gluttonous person.
Yes.
But then that would be the problem, the gluttony, the overconsumption.
Right.
So to me, that would just, I think somewhere it talks about the riotous eater of meat.
It does.
So
it does.
If you weren't supposed to have it at all, that would be redundant.
Right. Right.
Obviously, it's telling you, with the moderation, and you don't want to be gluttonous. You don't want too much meat. Yeah. I think the law.
You're right, brother.
I just leave it as y'all put it.
Right. And you know what? One person may be able to eat more meat than I do, and they're good. I realize if I eat a lot of meat, I feel real sluggish. So I've cut mine back. Actually, we basically at this point in time kind of cut it out. Does that mean that I'm a great law keeper? No. Because I didn't cut back my meat to keep the law.
Right.
Those two things have nothing to do with each other. Nothing. Joe Martin, I agree. A lot of people are allowing, a lot of different doctrines to leak into the faith.
Right.
Because if you actually look at it, the whole world is pushing a vegetarian veganism diet. It's not just the faith. It's out there in the world. They're pushing it strong. They're trying to eliminate, because they're saying cows are creating too much carbon dioxide.
Yep.
Too much carbon. So they're trying to cut down. Can somebody check the propane? Oh, okay. So everybody's it's fine. So the whole world's pushing this meatless diet, but now people are coming out and saying you're wicked and you're not in the faith because you eat chicken. I passed all that.
Yep. Michael Rivera said, "How about eggs?" I eat eggs.
I eat a lot of eggs.
It's a great source of protein.
I eat eggs.
I know what people say about the, it making your cholesterol higher. I just stick with what I would call a biblical diet. The things that I could see.
Yeah.
They ate, I eat. And keep it in right proportions where you're not being gluttonous or riotous eater of meat.
Right. So I could never go, unless the Father really did show something in the law, which I have not seen. I drink my milk. I have goat. I eat eggs from my chicken. So I don't know. I don't understand how they do it all. I used to be, my parents at one point in time when I was raised with them, we went the whole vegan, like no cheese, no eggs, we used to eat veggie salt. We didn't eat chocolate, we ate carob. We went the whole
we used to eat carob.
9 yards. Yeah. If you know what carob is, go ahead and type out carob. You have to be able to spell it right.
Man.
If you know what carob is, type the word carob in the chat. Brother, what was the name of that book? Whatever it was in the Great Society. What was the name of that book?
Henry and the Great Society.
For those of you who watched the video I did earlier today, that's the name of the book. It was Henry and the Great Society. Y'all should read that book and see what he says about power. Power versus electricity.
Right.
It's big.
You can get a PDF online for free.
And it's an easy read. It's an easy read. Tracy Hayes, you're right. It is not a substitute for chocolate. Not at all.
Yeah, I remember telling myself, hey, man, it's not that bad. Like, oh, okay.
It was terrible. Thank you, Sister Sky. There it is. Henry and the Great Society. Y'all should read that book. It's very easy to read.
Highly recommended.
Oh, man. But, a lot of y'all call it the power company. You're saying something. The same reason why you make sure you pay your landlord. Your landlord.
Yeah, these words were not by accident.
Brother Turd Ferguson, I'm going to look behind it. But he said, and it kind of lines up with the Bible. He said, it's interesting how they say that you are spelling words. What is the root word of the word spelling?
Man.
Spell. And the Bible does say that there is power in these words. So with your mouth, you could be putting spells on people. That's why the Bible tells you in James, it's a little member. The tongue is. But it kindleth. There he is, Turd Ferguson. There he is. With a lot of your people, a lot of your words, you are actually creating spells. Man. Woo!
Wow.
Thank you, Brother Turd. That when you said that, man, it opened up my eyes to like, wow. Wow. So again, when y'all be saying stuff, y'all need to be careful what you say. Read the book of James where it talks about the mouth. A little member, it kindleth a big fire. It setteth on fire the course of nature. You could be putting a spell on people. That's why you have to be very careful on saying things like, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Also talks about what comes out of your mouth defiling.
Man. You say stuff, because you're unhappy one day. I'll never be happy. I'll never get it right. I'll never change. Or you go off, you listen to this music where they're singing songs, and here you are singing the song right along with it. You could be putting a spell or a curse on you and your life.
Man.
Turd Ferguson, he put me up on that. Thank you, Brother Turd. That sounds weird, Brother Turd.
It does. I was like, does that say turd? Is that short for something? Oh, man.
Bless you, brother. Thank you so much for just giving us that information. That's right, Brother Jakar 3. Be quick to listen and slow to speak. You may want to take some time, some of y'all, and you may want to slow down your words. Take a second to think about what you're about to say before you say it. Man.
Let's do this in, let's see, where's this? Matthew 15. Verse 10, I think. Wait, no, hold on. Where did I go? Yeah, verse 10. Not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth. This defileth a man. So, of course, we know in context that's not saying, hey, go eat a whole bunch of swine or whatever because it's not going to defile you. Contextually, what he's talking about is, and I think it's interesting, in this topic we're talking about, a lot of these same people who will say, well, you're defiled because you eat meat, it should only be vegetables only, but yet will still, let these words leave their mouth, literally cursing themselves, defiling themselves, giving these companies power over them, and continuing to speak that into life,
man,
day in and day out.
Man. Make sure you keep your power on while you pay your power company. See, these words ain't innocent, y'all. These words they know what they doing. We just don't know.
And
Eddie Griffin said it's called a television. They're telling you visually what to think, what to feel, how to see things. They're telling you visually how you want to see life.
Right. Yes, sir. I remember for a season, man, just kind of cutting back. Well, not kind of, literally just cutting out any communications coming in to, through TV and all of that kind of stuff for a season. And I might do that again for a while because it's just interesting, the messages and that what is being communicated to our families through what we call entertainment.
Man.
Yep.
Brother, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. We call it entertainment, and yet there's a message being taught to your children, your wives, to you.
Right.
I mean, I don't think that men have this fake Rambo idea in third world countries where they live SHTF every single day.
Right.
It's these first world countries where we haven't experienced much of anything, where everybody's a Rambo. Everybody's a Rambo because they bought themselves an AR-15 or AK-47, or you're a gun operator. You are a pseudo operator because you know how to sit at a bench, put your rifle up on a couple of sandbags, and shoot.
5 minutes per shot.
And shoot a sub-MOA grouping. You're an operator.
No, you're a weapons owner.
A weapons owner. Let me see. D. Jones put up Ecclesiasticus chapter 20:37. And this is good. Be not unsatiable in any dainty thing, nor too greedy upon meat. For excess of meats bringeth sickness, and surfeiting will turn into colic. And that's not talking about meat as in food. That's talking about literal meat.
Right. Exactly.
So it's telling you can enjoy it. Don't overindulge. Don't be unsatiable in your eating. That's the book. Now, if you choose to indulge and you get sick, hey, so be it. That's on you. But the book literally has something to say about nearly everything there is in life.
Yes, sir. And I think there is, just like with everything else, if we purposefully put ourselves in that situation because we're unwilling to change, because our belly is our God, there will be some answering to do for that, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's in the book, and we've been provided those instructions, and so,
I agree. I mean, that's one of those things that your health that everybody seems to overlook when it comes to preparedness. Everybody jumps over their health. Like, for instance, how many people need to go see a dentist and have it? Just that alone. I know many of y'all have seen the movie Castaway. I don't think that you're going to want to be trying to extract your tooth with a skate, an ice skate,
or a screwdriver or something,
or a screwdriver. You could kill yourself, literally, messing around with that.
Yep.
So people pass off on, well, I'll go see a dentist later. I'll go get this taken care of later. Let a real crap hits the fan situation happen, and there ain't no dentist, and you have that toothache that won't go away. The topical ointments ain't fixing it. It is throbbing, and now you're in a fight.
Hey.
We skip over that one, huh?
Hey. I just went not too long ago, so you talking to me. I'm like, man, take care of that stuff.
Right. Take care of your health.
Man.
If you can't move, go outside and go for a walk. I can pretty much assume you don't need another AR-15.
That's right.
You might just need to go walking. Increase your CO2 max, which is the amount of CO2 your body is able to intake before your muscles start degrading.
Damn.
Increase your CO2 max. Increase your cardiovascular activities.
Right. Just be willing to deny.
Get in decent shape. I'm not saying you have to be a muscle man. Oh, I'm sorry, brother. I didn't hear you.
I said, just be willing to deny yourself some comfort.
Right. Oh, man.
I mean, I love coffee. Love it. But since I was overheating easily and that was brought to my attention that may be the cause, that was it. I don't have it anymore. I got some herbal alternatives.
Yes.
Not because I couldn't just go drink coffee anyway, but I'll deny myself that for the purpose of being healthy.
Yep. Making no sacrifice. We can't make the sacrifice today, but we're going to suddenly have it in our heart to make the sacrifice later on.
Right.
And I've gone through it, brothers and sisters. I went through the coffee withdrawal phase where I stopped drinking coffee and I was literally bedridden for about 2 weeks. I could not get up. I had a headache that was beyond terrible. Off coffee. Off coffee. This guy says something right there. A lot of people do when they get out of meat eating, they immediately go to soy and tofu, which is high in estrogen, which is why you see a lot of dudes running around with man boobs who are they'll be skinny as hell but have man boobs.
Yes.
All that estrogen in soy and tofu. Soy and tofu. I would even suggest before you decide to cut out meat, you need to really do some research on how you're going to replace that protein.
Yes, sir. Because a lot of these alternatives are not real. They're not wise alternatives.
They're worse for you than you just eating a damn rib.
Right. And keeping your portion size of it within moderation.
That's it.
Go figure. Just don't be a riotous eater.
Right. Right. There you go. But getting back to preparedness. What Brother David said was huge. And I want y'all to think about that. When he said that, markets will always exist. Can you survive outside of the markets? That's really the question. If you can't buy and sell, let's say today they said if you cannot buy and sell unless you go to them and receive your mark. Do you have enough exchangeable skills that you could still survive and make it just outside of that system?
And wherever the answers are no, that shows you where your deficiencies are, and then that's where the priority is in your prep work.
Right.
And right. It's no small task. It's no small undertaking. It has to. In fact, it has to be a complete lifestyle change. That's ultimately what it is.
It does. Right. That's something you really have to consider, brother, as you walk this walk and as you are making very important decisions, because the decisions that you are making today are going to affect your financial decisions today that you are making, or your dumb ones today, you're going to pay for. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Go on in. Go on in, brother.
Even where we choose to reside matters. If you think about this from a historical standpoint, people were a lot wiser when they made these decisions, and they didn't just set up shop anywhere. That only happened as a result of, electricity and the modern conveniences that came as a result of that. But, we're not called to, look forward to and remember and press forward to the new paths. It's the old paths. So that to me would include, hey, well, let me kind of foresee the evils and even where I live. And what would that look like should electricity no longer be readily available to me? Or if I don't have access to these markets, how easy will it be for me to grow food here? Is it feasible? Wow. Is it even possible? And if not, why not give yourself a leg up, an opportunity to set up where you can best have the most opportunity to be successful in that day and age? I know that's what I did.
Man. That's like California right now is going through that mega drought. So you could have grandiose ideas of growing 5 acres of food. That's going to be kind of impossible when you can't water your food.
So those decisions matter, and it's not going to be Yah being Yah. We could just read his word and know this, but somehow we continue to miss it. The solutions will not be just solely what we can throw paper at, money at, and fix it, though. It's going to cost us something. It's going to cost us greatly.
Because, even just the way things are going now, you're having to throw more and more paper that you may not have to get the same. I went to Walmart today, and the freezer section was completely empty. They had ice cream, and I think they had ice cream and frozen fruit. All the frozen foods gone.
Man.
Frozen potatoes, gone. Empty shelves. Now remember, what, a year and a half ago, you would go to Walmart, and if there was an empty shelf, it was odd. Now, we just walk through these grocery stores as if nothing's happening. It's just normal to see 3 or 4 items on the shelf. It's normal to see empty shelves. And you can see they're slowly marching us further and further to where they want us to be.
Yes, sir.
Before you know it, it'll be 2 things on the shelf and they'll be fighting for it.
Right.
And that'll be normal.
That'll be the new norm. Yep.
That'll be the new norm.
Straight out of Judah, that's exactly what I have. I do it's like some blend of dandelion coffee alternative. I love it. It's great.
Man.
And when I say
I may have to make that change.
It tastes just like coffee. I love it because I can drink it, enjoy it, and I'm not overheating. Works for me.
I mean, you think about it, brother. What if, and I'm just being real, what if you're dependent on some sort of pharmacia and they say you cannot get your medications unless you take this mark or this vaccine or whatever it may be?
Because that is the pressure. That is how they will pressure you with any of those kind of situations. It's not going to be a force you to do anything. You will be caused to take the mark, not forced. And those are 2 vastly different approaches. Caused.
Right.
It's like in Egypt. They were caused to go in and work for Pharaoh, enslave themselves to Pharaoh. They weren't forced. That's why Levi wasn't there.
That's right. That's right. Sister Sky said it, the wife of Brother David. Caused. It's not a forcing. They're not forcing you to do it. They're going to give you the choice. You ever choose you this day whom you will serve. You're going to have to make the choice to say, I just won't get my meds then. I just won't get what I need from the doctor.
And brother,
or
Lamar,
you're going to have to.
I'm sorry, brother.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
So it seems like we're pausing and then I'll talk.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I want to hear what you got to say.
I saw brother Lamar's comment and I understand where you're coming from, but I will add this to you as a caveat. For a man, it will be easy for you in theory, because it won't even be easy for you as we think it will be. And I know you were saying that easier said than done, and I agree.
Right.
But now throw this in there. What if it's not you with the ailment? What if it's your rib or your child who has this ailment? That then you have to then come up with the alternative to pharmacia to treat this situation, because you wouldn't want to say to them, well, I'll just see you on the other side. That would eat you up. So these are the things that we have to be thinking about and considering now, trying to foresee these evils now. And while we have time and opportunity still now, be finding the solutions for, because we know our conditions. Right. It won't work to wait until the events take place, because now you're just going to be the one who, passed on and are punished. Because you didn't foresee it and hide it, you just kept going. Now the punishment's coming. That's a double-sided up. That's an equation. You have the cause and the effect. So we can't fail to foresee it, but then also escape the punishment. That's why what we do right now matters. That's why
it matters big time.
Even if we could just be chilling and taking it easy right now, we shouldn't be, because our job is to be preparing, just like the ant.
And Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead both said winter is coming. And what does the ant prepare for?
Winter.
Winter. It prepares for when it doesn't have access to those things that it is used to having access to. So it stores up in the summer, so that when the winter comes, it has plenty of provisions for. Something that we overlook oftentimes. You know, and you know, but David, since we've talked about it many, many times, I've thought about the whole idea of buying and selling. And Sister Sky just stole it. She just stole it. I thought about even sisters. Most of these sisters are going to go headlong and take whatever mark is offered to them, especially these single ones. Because when you are presented with the idea that you're not going to be able to make it at all unless you take this mark, or else, what decision do you have?
Man.
Most today will choose child support and food stamps over getting a covering. So you trying to tell me all of a sudden you're going to make the decision to serve Yah and do it his way?
Man.
Sister Jasmine said it right there. I was shown many, many years ago that the children of the Most High will not be able to receive health care, but we will be given birth in secret just as we did in Egypt. That's why you had, was it Shifra and Pua? The two midwives who were delivering the Hebrew children.
Right.
We've got to really start thinking where this whole thing ends up. And you, as Brother David said, you have to be prudent and foresee the evil. It's too late when it's already staring you in the face.
Right.
We have to walk truly. God must order our steps, and we must walk in his ways. Trust in Yahweh with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Well, it's clearly evident that some of y'all, your path is not being directed by Yah. I don't care how spiritual you think you are. Your path is directed by you. And the end of that path is destruction.
That's it. And that's not a personal thing. That's just what it is.
That is.
In the same way that it would be destruction for me choosing that path, or following Yeshua choosing that path, or Brother Andre, who's not here today, choosing that path. It will be the same. It just is what it is.
It is what it is. Sister Scott said agrees, said Jasmine Fly. Hebrew women give lively births. I participated in it. Right. Sister Sky almost got hit by a pan.
Yep. And that's another one of those deals.
Tanisha, why do you have... What was that?
I said, and that's another one of those areas. Knowing this and understanding it, we should be becoming well versed, well educated, well prepared in midwifery. And I don't mean by we, husbands having to understand this and know it. Where are the sisters doing? Where are the sisters at in this regard?
Man. And this is why on this channel we've spoken on things like family, marriage. We have too many rogue people doing their own thing, sisters running around doing their own thing. And your place is to be under a man, under a husband, because if you are with a righteous man, he's going to be leading you to acquiring some of these skills that the prudent would know.
Yes, sir.
The prudent will know it.
And I think, brother, regardless, no matter how we slice it, no matter what angle we try to approach it from, the reality of the situation comes down very simply to this. When we choose Yah, it's going to cost us dying to ourselves. Period, point blank. Well, I just wanted to do this over here. All right, well, that you was dead. Yah said, I want you to do this over here. And he's not moving or changing his mind because he can see the end. He knows why his desire is for us to go this way. It's for us to choose him and live. So he's immovable. That means the other side of that equation is what? The moving is up to us. We have to change course, change the direction, and say, I think I need to line up with Yah. He created me. He created the heavens and the earth and everything that therein is. I think I better start actually choosing to believe him, believe his words, believe what he has said, and believe that to be more important than what this flesh, my feelings, my opinions would have me to want. With my very limited capability to see or foresee.
Right.
I understand that he has seen the end. He created it. I better die to myself. Choose to go this way. Choose to come out. Choose to prepare. Choose to be uncomfortable with this time.
Brother David, can you explain to people what dying to yourself means?
When I say dying,
because you hear a lot of people use that. You hear them use that term, but that you can tell they really don't have an understanding of what it is to die to yourself. And I know you have a great understanding of it because you've done it. So can you explain that?
Dying to yourself, I simply mean this. You look up and you say, here's what Yah says, and here's where he's at. And I'm over here. I have to move because he's not moving. I have to move. So I have to get rid of whatever it is that is in me that I desire, I want to do, but it doesn't line up with his immovable truth. So if he says, hey, come out of her, my people, and my flesh says, no, I want to stay here because XYZ, then I have to die to that. I have to then be willing to sacrifice and forego XYZ, whether that's this job, this high-paying career, this woman, these, conveniences, whatever it is, and say, hey, no matter what it costs me, I'm going to go because he said go. This is what I'm going to do. Or, hey, it could be something that's simple to keep it on point with what we were talking about. It could be your flesh just desires to have nothing but meat. I am a righteous eater of meat. But Yah says that is not good for me and not to do it. It wasn't a suggestion. He commanded it. So therefore, understanding that, I'm going to die to myself and I'm going to curtail my consumption of meat. I'm going to make sure that it is proportional to my intake of vegetables. Or, hey, that woman is hot. Sister such and such, brother such and such's wife is banging. And I know he's out of town and he ain't been doing right. So her eyes wander. Now, having some game, I could just go over here and spit. But Yah said, don't do that. So therefore, I'm going to die to myself. I'm going to mortify that wickedness in my own flesh and say, nah, I'm not going to do that because that man is dead. Like he was a thief, let him steal no more. Sister such and such belongs to brother such and such. So therefore, I'm mortifying that part of my flesh because what is more important than me is what Yah said, his law, his ways, his will on earth being done. And so when I talk about dying to self, that's what I mean. Yah's word, his opinion, his commands are immovable. And it is up to us to then scoot over and line up perfectly with it. Because he's never moving for it. I don't care who you are. He's not changing the parameters for us. It is always for us to go, okay, I'm lined up. And when you feel yourself scooting out, you got to realign yourself. And it sounds
Yes.
simplistic, but it's not, because in today's day and age, we've grown up in a society that tells us everything else revolves around us. You just stay the course because you're fine, because it's you. You have exception clauses. It's okay because it's you, because you feel XYZ. That's a lie from the pits of hell. Yah's truth is immovable, and the only way that it works for you being his is you get your ass moving. That's it.
That sounds a lot like a wife to a husband.
Only thing I'll say to that is that's probably the reason why that analogy is used in the book.
Oh. Truth. Man. If we would stop aligning our ideas and thoughts with other men so that we can be accepted.
Right.
And we lined it up with the book. If we lined it up with the book, y'all will bring other men into. See, some of y'all would think that me and Brother David grew up together. You would look at the two of us and be like, y'all basically said the same stuff. Y'all live the same lives. Y'all wouldn't even believe. We've only known each other for what, 4 years? 3 years?
Sir.
3 to 4 years. Probably 4 years.
Probably 4 years, yes, sir.
4 years. That's all we've known each other. But when somebody's living the book, there's always going to be that attraction. And I'm not talking about homosexual, but there's going to be that attraction because you're going to look at it and say, he's living the book. I'm living the book. We don't have to have deep theological discussions to see if we agree, because we agree simply by living.
Yes, sir.
It's always interesting when you know you have a brother without having to sit down and have this great theological discussion about what do you believe in? Do you believe in Yeshua? Do you believe in the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh? You just know.
Right.
There you go. Sister Sky and T. Water said it. Kindred spirits. You just know. And even though we have, and here's a kicker, even though we have differences in how we do things.
Right.
Brother David says AR-15. I say AK-47. If you actually were to listen to what we're saying, we're both saying have protection.
That's it. That's right.
You get so caught up in the fact that they're not saying the same rifle. No. We're saying have protection. He may say 45. I say 40 Smith & Wesson. We're still just saying pistol. Primary fighting rifle. He says greenhouse. I say outdoor garden. We're both saying grow your damn food.
Right.
He says cows. I say goats. We're both saying we have milk and meat.
Yes, sir. Man, that's it.
But somebody will always try to come in and cause division and try to say, well, y'all don't have the same mind because y'all ain't growing the same animals. No. And SOJ said, Cheryl Judah said it, y'all still go back to the law. And that's where we'll always take you.
That's it.
We ain't going to take you to our own opinion. We're going to take you back to the law on what it said. And that's how you know that we are actually walking in one accord, because we're always going to take you back to the fundamental law that governs, that is holy, that is righteous,
yes, sir,
that is perfect. We'll take you back there.
We are two different organs of the same body.
Woo!
And though those organs have different functions, they may look slightly different. It's not so vastly different that you could tell, oh, that's not of the same body.
Right.
It was quite the opposite. I could say, oh,
right,
man, that's of the same body right there. That's my brother for real, for real.
For real, for real, for real.
For real, for real. I know it.
No. Just know it. I mean, when you think about even your right and your left hand, some of y'all play video games. When you play video games, one hand is on the joystick, the other one's pushing buttons. Right. They're doing two different things. If you ever drove a stick shift, I used to do street racing. You'd have one hand on the steering wheel, usually your left one. Your right one is on the stick. Your left foot is on the clutch. Your right foot is operating the gas or the brake.
That's it.
So your body can do multiple things and still be one. Both feet aren't on the clutch. Both hands aren't on the stick.
Right.
Both hands aren't on the steering wheel, because if both are on the steering wheel, how do you shift?
Right. And doing any crafts, you got one hand holding that object, another hand cutting, or another hand welding, whatever. Body parts working together for the overall accomplishment of the task at hand. That's
Yep. It. Didn't it say in the book that they had a plowshare in one hand and a sword in the other?
Yes, sir.
One is doing the agricultural work. The other one is ready for war. That's why, if y'all want to know what H4W stands for, it means hands for war. Shalom, Imabina. This guy said, Chris says salad. For those of you who don't know, salad is my favorite food. I love salad. Love salad. Brother David says cheeseburger. And then you know what? Whenever I say, Brother David, cheeseburger, that's when Brother David says salad.
I probably scared to say cheeseburger. We can have some salad in there, though.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
One of the most fundamental things you can do in preparedness, lest you be caught and destroyed, is you have to have a brotherhood with somebody or people. You have to have a brothers, somebody that truly cares for you and somebody that you truly care for.
Right.
Somebody, not just like somebody that you can visit frequently, where y'all might be able to train together, barter with each other, learn from each other. Men see men oftentimes, too many times, as a threat.
Man.
And especially, I'm being real, especially men of color, y'all niggas know when you see another man of color, for some reason, we can't be like, hey, how you doing?
And I think that's on purpose, that has been ingrained into us. But we know that and understand it. And just like with anything else, you can't. Here we are, 400 something plus. Well, it's been more recent than that, because even Willie Lynch and all that. I understand where that comes from. My point being, we understand where it comes from. We don't have to stay there anymore, because we have choice. We have free will. We can choose. Hey, I'm not looking at this brother as a threat. I understand where that wicked ass train of thought came from. I'm not operating it anymore.
Right. Man, tell the truth, brother. I don't look at my brother and say, he's a threat. And that's whether you're my brother of a Hebraic brother or the stranger joined. I don't look at you and say, you're a threat. I look at you and I say, I hope that brother is able to get whatever he needs to continue to grow. I saw Sister Jasmine Fly said, sisters, y'all need to learn first aid. And if you have any questions, you can ask her. That's what we need amongst men.
Yes, sir.
We need that amongst men, where men are comfortable going to another man and saying, see, and all this churchology and Christianity that's leaked into the faith, has caused men to always feel the only way I can be your friend, the only way I can be your brother is if I lower myself to you and make myself your stepping stool. We as men can be strong men and come together and say, hey, you strong and I'm strong. I'm good at this, you're good at this. Let me teach you what I know and I'll teach you what, and then you teach me what you know. And we both grow. That's always a threat. It's always a threat.
We got to get over that stuff. We got to realize and understand that that's choice. May not be easy choice, but it rather be an easy or difficult is not what determines if it's a choice. It is choice. You can understand why we have seen each other that way and then choose, hey, I'm not operating that way anymore. I'm going to choose to speak life to my brother and receive life from him and not vice versa. And here's a cliff notes for you. It won't happen on autopilot. Because in autopilot, you suck. In autopilot, you'll be the worst version of you. By that, I mean, it will have to be purposeful. It will have to be thoughtfulness coming from you to say, you know what? I'm not operating that way anymore. Because that's not how Yah created me to be. That didn't come from Yah.
Man. And yeah, when you look at the disciples, the apostles, the patriarchs, everything they did was intentional. They lived intentional lives.
Yes, sir.
Not accidental, not fear-based. You know, people say, well, you're in the preparedness or homesteading because you're scared. No, I'm smart.
Exactly. Prudent.
I can read the book. I read the book and I can say, oh, our ancestors did that. There must be a lot of wisdom in it. Because I've noticed that as generations have gone on, we've gotten stupider.
Very, very much so. Dumbed down on purpose.
Yes. Willfully ignorant.
Yes, sir. And
we can see what's happening in the world. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The opposite side of that statement would be, well, you just fail to prepare because you're ignorant. Or foolish, rather, just to use the biblical words. You're failing to foresee the evil.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like Noah. Noah continually told the people, it's going to rain. And because the people, and you know what? A lot of the people today, even in the so-called faith, they have the same mentality, the same thought process as the people in Noah's time. And they were heathen. It's never rained before. It's never rained. So it can't rain. But it did.
That's the raindrop friends. There was nowhere around when it was dry. You couldn't find them. Didn't want to drive one single nail in the ark. When that raindrop hit that forehead, oh, now y'all friends. Now you brothers.
Hey, Noah, you remember that one time you needed a cup of sugar? Noah's like, I never needed a cup of sugar.
Yeah, I remember that. You didn't give it to me. You didn't want to be seen around here because I was building this ship and you thought I was crazy.
Man.
Yep.
You know, you said something there, brother. I want to read something that your wife said. She said, from what I have heard, brotherhood heals issues from the past and strengthens the present. It also makes the future sure, which is an excellent stability for the sisterhood. A reason why a lot of sisters don't have sisterhood is because they've never truly seen brotherhood from their husband.
Well, that is so true.
They don't know how to be sisters because their husband wants to sit out in the corner as some Chuck Norris Army Ranger. I'm by myself. And she's learning from you, man. And that's what she sees. So that's what she emulates. Man.
Imabita said, as I age, I ignore people tell me they're in the faith. Focus on actions instead. Your faith is your deeds. Well said, and I agree 100%.
Man.
Yep.
Show me your faith without your works, and I will show you my faith by my works.
Yes, sir.
And works isn't your head covering and skirt.
Nope.
It's not your rolling of the tongue so that you can say, Ruach. That's the faith.
And it's not showing up to, or, listen to what your elder or your pastor or such and such said either. It's not even listening to what we said.
Nope.
Your works are what you do.
What are you
doing?
Your
works are when somebody that you know comes to you and confides in you or whatever, and you hold that to yourself instead of spilling it out.
Oh,
and
man.
You lift them up and encourage them and speak truth and life to them instead of browbeating them and beating them down. Or you choose to be loving enough to say, well, no, I think there's a more perfect way you could do this because in scripture it says blah, 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 blah. And you love them enough to be truthful instead of just cordial and friendly, quote unquote.
Man.
Those are your works. Those are your works that are going to leave here when you leave here.
Damn. Brother David said some big ass things right there. When you leave this earth, brothers, how is your name going to be remembered? Are you going to leave the earth and people are going to laugh at you and be like, that brother wasn't prepared for shit? No wonder his family got wiped out.
Man.
No wonder his name is removed from Israel. Nobody knows who he is anymore except for me because he didn't prepare for his family at all.
He thought Egypt was going to take care of him.
There he is.
He trusted in
Egypt. He made Egypt his covering. And when Egypt fell, he fell too.
Man.
I know it's weird. I know it's weird for a lot of people to see two men of color who have made this move. But to be honest, there are quite a few men of color who have made the move.
Absolutely.
Minister Maccabee, he made the move.
Brother Ronnie on here, he's done it.
Brother Ronnie's made the move.
Brother J.
Beniyah Gabri is. Yep. Beniyah Gabri Israel. He made the move. A lot of men, and then you have our other brother, the Alex Giles.
Right.
He made the move. A lot of people are making the move. And while it sounds crazy, the problem is that when the rain starts coming, and the problem is that the rain's already here. Society is already falling apart in front of your face.
Right.
I just read an article that I can't remember where it was, but ransomware hackers tried hacking a water treatment plant and releasing toxic levels, I think it was of chlorine, into the water, but releasing it in a way where it wouldn't notify or set off any alarms.
Man.
Do you see it? They are playing around with them. The water's already falling. It's already raining. And still, so many of our people, so many so-called people in the faith, so many Florida, thank you, Brother Turd, Florida. So many are not paying attention. They're not aware. They're too busy trying to get in the spirit that they're not aware what's naturally, physically happening in front of them. If you were so in the spirit, your spirit would already have an inkling. There'd already be something on it that tells you, I gotta go.
Right, because if you got the Ruach, the same Ruach that FY has and that I have, how did he get the message and I got the message, but you didn't get it? Ain't that the same blood flowing through all of our bodies? It ain't got to your organ yet?
Right. Many other brothers are like, shit, I feel the unction. Some brothers, we have to kind of slow them down. Like, brother, take a second. Do this step first, then do this step. Because some are eager to get out. They want to get out now. And then you have other ones that are just like, I'm cool. I'm chilling. Ain't nothing going to happen to me. Okay. I hope it doesn't. I hope nothing happens to you. But if it does, just let you know, the ark is closed. Sorry. Sisters, brothers are close. Say it again.
Get it how you lived.
Get it how you live.
Get it unprepared. Just take it. Because you were convinced I was the biggest buffoon or fool in your eyes, and none of my counsel. So when it comes, it's like, hey, get it how you lived. Go out on your own terms.
It's what you wanted, right?
I prepared for what I believe, and you prepared for what you believed.
Oh, man. Now we have to eat the fruit of our preparedness.
Yes, sir.
You get to eat the fruit of your preparedness. I get to eat the fruit of my preparedness.
Man.
Man. Yes, sir, Brother Lamar. Yes, sir. And we'll talk more about it. We will talk more about it. I'm just surprised that the world is falling apart as fast as it is. Whether it's controlled or it's not controlled is irrelevant to me.
Right.
I know it's falling apart. That's all I care about.
And we know the trajectory. And that's not through, because being prophetic, you can just open your book and read it. We know where it's going.
Yes. Right.
How we can still not foresee it, I don't understand. I can't comprehend that.
I fail to comprehend how our ancestors continually showed us that they made physical moves to prepare themselves. Women made physical moves. And today, everything is some hyper spiritual. I'm in the spirit, and that's good enough for me. And to be honest, many of the people today, while they may believe that they don't have it in themselves to go through these times that are coming. Joshua said in Matthew 24 that for the elect's sake, he will shorten days. And we're not even talking about that.
That's right.
We're before that. We're at the time where things are just going to get bad. And people still can't find it in themselves to say, let me do what the book says. Let me do what the Bible says. They're still trying to find a way to do it their own way. Haven't you figured out that your way has not worked? If you are in stress or turmoil right now, understand your way doesn't work. So you have to do it another way. I don't understand why those that say they are in their faith don't understand that part. If it hasn't worked your way to this point, it's not going to work tomorrow.
That's right. And it's just that simple.
There he is. Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom, Beniah, to you and your household and your homestead. SOJ, that's right. It says elect, not elite.
Man.
For the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. Look at House of Maccabee. House of Maccabee said, and I am extremely sorrowful for your loss, brother. He said, I lost my father, my heart, and my youngest sister in a 4-month span. Brother, you know what? But we're not going to focus on that part. I know it's sorrowful for you, and I know it hurt. But I want to look at what you said afterwards. And yet it was time to come out. I can't let the doors close on me. Despite the fact that our brother lost his father and his little sister, he could still see that there are doors and that they could be shut with him on the outside. Man.
Wow. That's huge. Yeah, that's huge.
That's big time.
Wow.
Man. That should bring a level of soberness to all men, women, anybody who's got made up excuses inside of their head, which is why I can't make these steps because of A, B, or C. This brother lost his father and sister in a 4-month span. And yet he never closed his ears to the Most High. He still heard the Most High's warnings and made a move.
Yeah.
Bless you, brother.
Yes, bless
you. Shalom, I saw a Dorothy Givens. Master, there is no master, only Lord Yahweh. Well, if you read 1 Peter 3, sister, the book says that Sarah called Abraham Lord, which translates to master. Oh, Sister Scott said it. Please understand this culture of the word of Yah. Yahweh is the master of his people, and a wife's husband is her master. We have full freedom to express ourselves in this way. True. It says that the daughter, Sarah called Abraham Lord, where if you look behind the word in the Thayers or in the Strongs, it translates to master. So Sarah actually called Abraham master, and that's 1 Peter, where it's being referenced.
Well, if you don't care about culture, hopefully you care about the book, and that's what we're reading to you. That's coming from Yah's word, you know. So, and if you don't care about that, then perhaps you're free to go find yourself somewhere else to listen to where they talk about only the Lord Yahweh and not all of his words, which include master.
Master.
And
Well, I mean, I told you what it said, sister. Sister Sky told you what it said. Brother David told you what it said. So if you just want to ignore it, I mean, you're free to.
Yep. But just understand
You are
that,
free to ignore.
There's a whole lot more in the Bible than just that one verse that you're pulling from there. Why don't you read the rest of that? That'd be my admonishment. Or don't. It's up to you.
Yeah. Whether you do or you don't, it's on you.
Yeah.
You know, the way the book is. All right, Sister Dorothy, you asked for it. Turn to 1 Peter 3. Now I'm gonna read it in the scriptures version. That's right. Fallen Sky Prepper, I read your comment. Fallen Sky Prepper is the one that said women have a problem with sisters calling their husband master, but will call the owner of their property their landlord and have no problem with that.
Right.
All right, so, Dorothy, 1 Peter 3, we're starting at verse 1, and I'm reading it in the scriptures version. In the same way, wives, be subject to your own husbands, so that if any are disobedient to the word, they without a word might be won by the behavior of their wives, having seen your blameless behavior and reverence. Your world should not be outward, arranging the hair, wearing gold, or putting on dresses, but the hidden man of the heart, with the uncorruptible ornament of a meek and peaceable spirit, which is of great value before Elohim. For in this way, in former times, the Kadesh women who trusted in Elohim also adorned themselves, being subject to their own husbands. As Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him master, of whom you became children. Doing good and not frightened by any fear. In the same way, husbands live understandingly together, giving respect to the wife as to the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the favor of life or high, so that your prayers be not hindered. So in that, Sarah called Abraham master, whose daughters you are. You shouldn't be amazed, but you're not supposed to have any fear of it. What Yeshua said in the master or Rabbah is you're not to call in he's the master of all things.
Right.
Uppercase M. We men are the master of our possessions. Wives, children, properties. Lowercase m. Go ahead, brother. I see you opening. I see you saying something. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, let's just look at this in context now for a second, because it's not difficult. If we would really just read the book, not trying to tell it what it says, but just read it and allow it to tell us what it says and means, it's not difficult. Let's look at this in context. Yeshua himself also talked about servants obeying your masters.
Oh, that's good, brother.
So there are multiple places from the beginning to the end where we see this concept of those in authority and those in subjection. It's all throughout, as it always will be.
Yeah.
So that's not some new phenomenon, and Yeshua wouldn't come in and contradict Yah's words, because himself, he only spoke what he heard the Father speak.
Right.
He said so. Abraham knew this, Sarah knew this, and true daughters of Sarah also know and understand this. So I'm not saying you're not a daughter of Sarah if you don't.
Right.
But just to understand, because we come from somewhere, we all have opportunity to learn and grow. So I hope that that's all that it is, and that you would take the opportunity to then be more well versed, be taught, and then grow. And if that's the case, hey, no
Yeah,
problem.
we're not against you. We're not talking about this because we are against you. We understand that traditional westernized Christianity has taught us many things that are actually contrary to the book.
Right. Absolutely.
So all of us have been in a place where we may have thought something, and then we read the Bible and we're like, oh, dude, I never saw this.
Yes, sir.
I never saw this in the Bible, but now that I see it, it makes sense.
Right.
So please don't ever take this as Dorothy. I can't remember her last name. Please don't ever take this as word. Give it. We're not against you at all
Not
in
at all.
this. We're just hoping that you hear it and it resonates, and you because it's in the book.
Right.
And then it can open up your understanding, because in the Bible says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. We've all been at that place. Me especially. We were all in that place where we didn't know.
Absolutely.
We didn't know. And we thought by repeating what we've heard or repeating this or that we had it right. And then, praise Yah, he brings correction to us. And we're able to live it right. And that's all we're hoping to do for you, is that we can bring the correction, and you can say, wow, you lied to me, world. You lied to me, church. What else did you lie to me about?
Right.
You know what? The Bible, the clean animals didn't go in 2 by 2 like the unclean animals. In fact, the Bible says that the clean animals went in pairs of 7, and the unclean animals in pairs of 2. What else did you lie to me about? And as you go through the Bible, you start realizing you were lied to about a lot of stuff.
That's right. And that will cause you to...
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, and then that will cause you, I'll just put it this way. I know for my own self, that caused me to then shut out what other people were saying, and then just solely look at what Yah was speaking through his word, which will cause the scales to fall off of our eyes and us to then see things as he sees it.
Mm.
Because the world just teaches us filth. We live in an anti-Christ world. We have to understand that. Like in a literal, practical sense, we have to understand that. We live in an anti-Christ world. So as such, it can be expected that most, if not all, that we are taught by this world will actually juxtapose that which we read from Yah's word, or that he would have us to follow. Because the world's not, I don't see any example of the world actually exhorting us to righteousness. Ever. The world is always going to exhort us to follow its master, Satan. So we have to understand that, know that, and then that's why we have to renew our minds by the word, Yah's word, because we live in an anti-Christ world, and we can't serve 2 masters. And we have come up, most of us, if not all of us, drinking the filth of this world. And so all of these concepts are just completely juxtaposed to what Yah's word says, which causes us to have to do a 180 and about face and say, whoa, that was way off. I'm thankful I know that truth now. I know that's been my experience.
Me too. Me too. Hallelujah. And the funny thing is that, we think that we are learning the truth, and in reality, the devil has kind of co-opted that word truth, attached his meaning behind the word, and given it to us. And because we haven't truly been taught what it is to truly love the word and live it, whether it be because of the captivities or the way we've learned this culture, we truly have not taken the word and ever put it in us to live it. We've always been that person, dating all the way back to the time, especially those people of color, dating all the way back to slavery times, where somebody sat up there and told you what it is to think. They told you you can't understand the Bible. You can't even read. Then they would get some trained monkey to sit up there and repeat what they said. And if he did, he would get some kickbacks from master. But in reality, we've never actually taken the Bible for ourselves and read it because we've been told and cultured and led and brainwashed to think that it's our job to simply walk in the church, sit down in the pew, nod our head, yes, say amen 50 times, and then leave.
Go
ahead, brother.
To say it even goes back farther than our most recent American slavery. So when I talk about Christianity 3.0, when I say that, this is what I mean. That whole concept started in my, from my research with Roman Catholicism. The Pope saying, "Hey, you all aren't smart enough to understand this Bible. You need this Pope to tell you what it means." And so that has always been about a control mechanism. Because if I can keep truth from you, you won't know that I'm taking advantage of you.
Man.
So then you have a lot of these so-called denominations spring off from that. And what do you see those pastors do? They follow the same ideology that their forefathers taught them.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all are too dumb. You can't trust your understanding of what this book says. Let me tell you what it says.
Man.
So that's 2.0. And now what do you see in the so-called faith right now? Same thing. People might say, hey, make sure you read your book, but out of the same, on the same breath will tell you, but if I'm not telling you to study this, you shouldn't be studying it. It's the same, It's the same concept. So we have literally just been raised up with this understanding that I'm not smart enough to touch and handle this book. I need to turn that over to a pastor. I'm not smart enough to touch and deal with my health. I have to turn that over to these health professionals because they know better. I'm not even smart enough to raise my own children anymore, despite the fact that I'm commanded to do so by Yah. I have to then send them off to some, the school system to purposefully dumb them down and turn them against me. I'm not smart enough to do anything except for labor.
Man, the only thing we're smart enough to do is feed the system.
That's it.
That's all you're here to do. You're only here to feed a system. Look at most of your birth certificates. You'll see a little barcode on the bottom. You're here to feed the system. You're here to feed Egypt. As soon as you start breaking away, and that's what it seems at times, like the mark of the beast, it's about it.
Man, that is so true.
You don't take that mark, you can't dwell in the system.
That is so true. I like the comments Ima Bina made, basically stating it's not by force, it's by choice. It is a gift of herself to her husband, her master, for her to submit to him. And I want to speak to that for a minute because none of these women, I can speak for my household, I can speak for the Rock household, I can speak for HOQ's household. None of these women are incapable of going and being highly successful according to the world's eyes in the world system. That's not why they're here in submission to their own husband. It's not because that's the only thing that they could do. They could go out excel any other woman out there on the workforce. They do it because they understand that that is their strength and their power.
Man.
It's not because they have to do it like that's their only option. These are very fully capable, well-functioning, highly intelligent individuals who can read and understand truth for what it is, and then choose and chose to die to themselves daily and to lay down their lives and serve their masters, their husband, understanding that the reward for that will be great. And that's far more powerful than laying down your life and dying and sacrificing for a corporation who, when you are done with the ability to do that,
man,
all you'll get is nothing at this point. I don't even think you'll get a gold watch today.
Man. When you look at the woman's creation, first, Yah took the rib from the man and made woman. And then he said, here's something that he said, brothers. He told you men, be fruitful and multiply. Which means you have to do what? You have to have sex.
Uh-oh.
Yet, why is the term sex and sexuality such a taboo subject in today's westernized church when Yah's first thing that he says, be fruitful and multiply? So what has this society told you women? Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
And then he saw fit to...
We're just talking. Go ahead, brother.
Then he saw fit to, utilize quite a bit of scripture, quite a bit of law, space and time there to regulate, hey, don't do it over here because this will be displeasing to me. Don't do that. That will be displeasing to me. But everything within this confines here, hey, the marriage bed is undefiled. Go do it and enjoy it. And it's only when you see, through the church, quote unquote, then to come in and demonize something that Yah made for our enjoyment and our pleasure. Again, we live in an upside down antichrist system, a world that is literally juxtaposed to the one whom we claim to believe. So each day we wake up, we have to choose fire or water, life or death, Yah or this world. And Yah is unchanging. His desire for us has not changed. He's just simply saying, hey, choose me. Choose life so that you might live. And you can be fruitful and multiply and enjoy it in the process. As long as you stay within these parameters that I've taken the time and laid out within my law, so you know. So I don't care what Pastor Doolittle says. You can do this, you can't do that. Yah was gracious enough to leave it in his law that we can refer back to it. Hey, is it within those confines? Yes? Good. Go enjoy it.
Have at it.
Have at it.
But yet, and in this society today, you notice that they're doing everything they can to take away the be fruitful or multiply part. You can have man on man. You can be binary. You can be A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You can cut off your penis and install a vagina like it's a hard drive. You can do everything that you can to defile the marriage bed.
That's it.
To make it so a woman is not interested anymore in being fruitful or multiply. They're taking away a woman's what was natural for her and her desire, which was to. Okay, we're at the dark now. So if you have a very sensitive mindset, this is time for you to leave. He put it in you women to have a desire inside of you to want your husband to go into you. That's what he put into you. He made you sexy. He gave you assets that men, for some reason, find attractive. Men find 2 hanging pieces of fat from your chest.
Right. Right.
And if you think of it anatomically, we look at 2 pieces of hanging fat and say, damn, that look good. We'll see 2 pieces of fat behind her and be like, damn, that look good. But if we men had that, they'd be like, ugh.
Right.
So Yah engineered that into our minds so that we would have a natural attraction to that thing. It's enticing. It's exciting. And yet the world takes that away. And then it takes the woman and says, you know what? Your job is not to be at home. That's old-fashioned. That's the old path. The new paths today are go to work. Go get a job. Go to high school, then go get in debt. Go get a career. Make as much money as you possibly can. Be independent. That's what you're told today. So therefore, your childbearing years are spent studying and working, doing what a man is to do.
That's it.
You have taken on what a man's job is. His job is to take care of you. Your job is to obey, submit, and subject yourself to him. But they flipped it all around. So now you women are chasing what men chase. So now you find yourselves in competitions with men. So therefore you can't submit to him because he is your competitor. Right. You are you've competed with men since you were 18 years old for jobs and for college opportunities. You no longer see yourself as I should submit myself to my husband. You see it as my husband is now my competitor. So I'm not going to have his children until I'm ready for it. I'm not going to submit to him because I don't need to.
Hey. You know, it's so
Go ahead, brother.
It's so funny and very interesting when you think about it. For all these years, you've had, women just having no problem whatsoever crossing in to compete with men in this realm, saying, hey, I'm going to go to the workforce and compete with you. I don't want to submit to you because you're my competitor. You're my equal. But now you're saying all this transgender, crazy, misidentification nonsense with these dudes now going and competing with these women in their fields and smoking them. And now people are up in arms, and of course, rightfully so, because it's sick and sadistic. But it's crazy that it takes that to open the eyes. Like, wait a minute, whoa, something's off there. That guy shouldn't be racing these girls on the track field. Of course he's going to win. Well, of course he is. Where's that same mentality all these years where you've been trying to be out of road, being out of pocket? Wouldn't you just rather get in your lane and be successful there? I would think so.
Right.
It's a shame when the heathens and their wickedness have to teach us stuff like that.
Man, their sin has to teach us so-called righteous ones.
Right.
It wasn't enough that the book said it.
Right.
That should be enough. So in this whole thing, Sister Sky said it. So then when you have children, because you're at work, sister, and the man's at work, where are the children? At
school, raised by Pharaoh.
Being raised by Pharaoh. Pharaoh is now teaching your children about transgenderisms. Pharaoh's now teaching they're the ones who are teaching your children what sex is.
Right.
They're the ones teaching your children you don't need to prepare.
Man.
Why Why should you prepare? We'll take care of you.
Right. And when I say Pharaoh, I don't say that as like some cliche statement. I hope that y'all understand this. If you go all the way back, I think in Exodus, when y'all came and told Moses, hey, it is time. I'm going to remove y'all out of here. Moses goes to Pharaoh. What was Pharaoh's bargaining? He said, all right, well, I'll let y'all go so long as you leave the children.
Leave the children.
I don't need you. Just give me your children. You can go free today. Just leave your children. What do we do today? The exact opposite. Okay, well, I'm going to give you my children so I can be free.
Oh.
Wow.
You dump your children so you can make a little bit more money.
Right.
But then have the nerve to tell your children you love them. But you call yourself set apart and just gave your children over to Pharaoh for 8 to 10 hours a day. Your Pharaoh spends more time with your children than you do.
Absolutely. There it is. And Pharaoh doesn't just have to be the government either. I just want to go ahead and just throw this out here.
Go ahead.
It doesn't just have to be the government. If you have children and you continuously let your children, you send them away to spend exorbitant amount of time with people who you know do not hold your beliefs, do not live the same book that you live, you're essentially doing the same thing. You're sending your children to then go to these other places, I don't care if it's family or whoever it is, to then be raised up by Pharaoh.
Man.
So when it doesn't work out and your children come home and they plant Pharaoh's flag in your home, don't look surprised. We got to stop with the theatrics. Don't look surprised at that point. You just got to own it. Like, hey, man, I let Pharaoh raise him. That's why. That's why he's planting Pharaoh's, or he or she planting Pharaoh's flag. Because that's who I allowed to be their daddy.
Man.
Now little Johnny wants to go off and go work for Pharaoh. Of course, that's what he was raised to do. Well, I didn't raise him to do that. I know, you didn't. You didn't raise him. Pharaoh did.
At all. You didn't raise him at all.
Yeah, you didn't raise him at all. Pharaoh did that job. And he raised him well for him.
Right. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh. That's us. That take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. So let me just let y'all know, when y'all let your children go into this wicked westernized school system and you're not teaching them, you are adding sin upon sin. Just letting you know. Pharaoh has now become the covering for not just your children, because it says for you men, as for my people, children shall be their women shall be their oppressors, and children shall rule over them. That's what we have today.
Absolutely.
Let's continue. So when you send your children out there, you are adding sin upon sin. You are now allowing the unholy thing to be planted into your children so that they can come into your house and plant it there. How many of you have ever seen the movie Equilibrium with Christian Bale? It's an excellent movie. But they use the children to spy on their parents. Verse 2. That walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Egypt be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. So many of you trust in Egypt. You trust in Egypt for your preparations. Oh, I'm not worried about it. They have FEMA. I'm not worried about it. The stores will always have food in their shelves.
I don't have to go out and do this. I don't have to bust my ass because it's hot or it's cold or whatever. I'm just going to kick back and chill. I don't have to do any of this stuff because, hey, the stores are always there and available.
Man, always. And I'm a set apart person, but Egypt's stores are always going to be available for me. If you call yourself Israel or a believer or a set apart one, you can look in the book and say and see Egypt, Roman, Greek stores were not always open to you. There's always a point in which they're going to cut you off from them. And then you're going to have to go crawling back to them. And you're going to have to turn away from Yah in order to get Egypt's covering. That's going to be your choice. And I guarantee you, you'll go back to Egypt, crawl under Egypt's covering, and still call yourself Israel. Guarantee it. It happens today.
And you'll think that because you call yourself Israel, you are. But Yah's not looking at what's coming out of your mouth solely. He's looking at what you do.
What you do. Elcount said it cancels the entire understanding of the meaning of holiness, which is set apart.
Absolutely.
If you as a man, I'm being honest. I have a hard time looking at men who are willing to sacrifice their children for the sake of money. You're willing to sacrifice your wife for the sake of money. Baby, you go to work. Send the children to school, and I'll go to work. I'm willing to sacrifice my whole damn family for a little bit more crumbs from the table of Longshanks. I'm willing for my wife to make a little bit of money, whether it be 50,000, 100,000, 20,000, I don't care how much it is. I'm willing to sacrifice her submission, her subjection, because she's sacrificing her boss. She's submitting to her boss. She's supposed to be submitting to you, but she's obeying her boss.
Yep. Because you serve Mammon instead of Yah.
Oh, man.
And you can call yourself whatever you want to call it, but the word just says what it says. You can't serve two masters. You can't serve both money and Yah. And it chose that very specifically. It just says what it says. So here it is, that decision before us. Am I going to literally sacrifice my wife, my children for a little bit more mammon, money? Or am I going to die to self, cut back on what I think that I want, think that I have to have, forgo some pleasures for the sake of obeying Yah? And I'm going to read this real quick. Deuteronomy
Go ahead, brother.
7. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children.
Man.
And thou shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. That's what we are commanded to be teaching our children when. That's all day.
All day.
Sitting, that's when you're walking by the way. That's when you're rising up. That's from the sun, when you're up to the time to go to bed. Your children are in your control, according to Yah's program.
Yep.
According to his ways. So it's no surprise that Pharaoh would say, all right, Moses, Yah said he wants to let your people go. Y'all can go. I'll let you go. I only have one condition for you. You can have freedom today. All you have to do is this one thing, Moses. All y'all have to do is just lead the children. Just give me your children.
Why did Pharaoh want the children? He knew if I raise these children up, as slaves, they'll think this is normal.
That's it.
They'll teach this to their children. And I won't even have a people that want freedom because they'll always think that this is life.
That's it. They won't want normal, functional, healthy sex. They'll want little Johnny wanting to turn into Jane and all this other crazy confusion that Pharaoh of today is teaching these children. Why does he have access to teach them that? Because people would rather serve money rather than Yah. And though the book says what it says, men say, oh, I can't survive on a one-income family. That's a lie. I did it my entire career. That's a lie. You can. What you really mean is I can't do that and get everything that I think that I want and that I need. Therefore, I hate to say it, but really, I'm really going to serve money. And by serve money, I mean I'm really going to be disobedient to Yah's word and his instructions for the sake of gaining these things that I want to get. Instead of saying, no, I'm just going to die to self and forego getting those things. But hey, my wife will be in subjection. My wife will be here where she's supposed to be. My children will be raised and being taught what Yah said to teach them when he said to teach them.
Man. And these are the same people that'll say, well, when the mark of the beast comes, I'm not taking it. Yes, you are.
Right.
Yes, you are. You're already sacrificing your family now. Brother Lamar said, better get in a mean cottage. That's right. That's right. Look, if you look at 1 Peter 3, look at, Brother Bud, shalom. I'm going to answer that question. If you look at 1 Peter 3 and you look at verse 7, it says, men, this is for you. In the same way, husbands, live understandingly together, giving respect to the wife as to the weaker vessel.
Wow.
How do you send her to work to submit to her boss, to submit to all these men? Because not just her boss, but then it's the vice president and the president and the CEO. She's submitting to all these men as the weaker vessel. And then you think that she's supposed to have some sort of understanding and strength and come home and submit to you and be able to put all these different men in different compartments in her life. And then you get mad that she won't submit to you.
Right.
I make it simple. I understand they're the weaker vessel. Y'all ain't going to work. Brother David, do yours go to work?
No, sir.
So they always know who they're submitting to. The three here, no, they're submitting to me because I'm not putting any man in front of them for them to submit to.
Same here.
It's pretty cut and dry. They don't have to say, well, my boss said I have to be at work at 8. And you're telling me that you want me to do this for you, but I can't do that because I have to be at work at 8. So she's telling you, baby, I'm sorry, but you come second to my boss because I have to be there at 8.
Yep.
And you told me you want me to handle this, but I can't handle that because I have to be at work at 8.
Man.
And you got all this confusion going on inside of her head. And you think that she's supposed to find a way to put every single piece in its own place. And you ain't even done that yet.
Right. There it is.
Crazy. Weaker vessel does not mean stronger than you. It means weaker vessel. So if you can't give honor to her as to the weaker vessel, why do you have her? Just to make money off of her? Then just be real and tell her, baby, I'm sacrificing you for some money.
Right. Yep. Just call it what it is.
Just be real.
I would have you submit to me, but the reality of it is I serve Mammon and not Yah.
Ooh. I'm willing to pimp you out for a paycheck.
Man.
Oh, Brother Bud said this. Listen to this. Brother Bud Freshar, bless you, brother. He said, how do you know if you are ready? Did you need to wear a mask to keep living? Then if you did, how will you live without the mark? Come out of her, my people. You know, these stores put up these mandates. If you don't wear a mask, you can't come in. I thought you said that it wasn't transmissible through. I thought
Right.
y'all don't even know what it is. Y'all just said put on a mask. And people were running with a mask on. People were riding in their vehicles with their mask on.
And they're like, yep, we got them. Control mechanism, amping up, check.
Check. The next time, the next thing we're going to say is, men, you have to hold your penis in your left hand. Let's see if they do it.
Yep.
Men are running around holding their penis in their left hand to get by. They're just walking you. Brother Lamar, get a fake card. I'm not even going there. Because I have heard people that they're saying, you know, get a fake vaccination card. But to me, that's still submitting.
Yep.
You're still trying to act like you're getting by. I am making the choice to not fit in with this system. And if that means they don't like me, as Brother Bud said, come out of her. If you come out of her, you're growing your own food. Hey, you can mitigate a lot of these other things.
That's right.
And you have to understand, as a set apart person, you're not going to fit in. When you say to this world, now I'll teach my own children. In fact, I have my own children at home. In fact, I don't even want you to have access to my wife or wives. In fact, I don't even really want you growing my food. You're already bordering crazy. Already. When you don't live what they live, when you're not walking around wearing the expensive clothes, with driving expensive cars and living in expensive areas, when you turn your back on Egypt, believe me, they got some names to call you.
When you're not swimming in mountains of debt, always adding to the GDP.
Man,
this is what, you know, so that we can have growth. Always mean you have to spend more next year than you did this year.
And the Bible says the borrower is a servant to the who?
Lender.
Lender. So if you're not a good servant to the lenders, Egypt, you know what the Bible says, based on the curses, you will loan to them. They won't have to loan to you. And yet, what do? We call ourselves servants of Yah, but we serve debt. And the borrower is a servant to the who? Lender. Who's your lender? JP Morgan? Ace? Who is it? Now, if you're somebody that has a plan, you know, you say, I'm getting in debt, I'm going to pay it off in a year or a year and a half, I have it all laid out, that's one thing.
Right.
But we got people today who live in debt.
It's a lifestyle of debt. Yep.
And I'm telling you, I was one of them. So I'm being real with y'all. I was one of those people that lived in debt. And when I got free of that debt, the freedom was like, whoa, this is different. Whoa, this is different. It's a different level of living when you realize I don't have a monthly bill. I don't have to pay the power company to keep my electricity on. I don't have to pay somebody for this and pay somebody for that. I don't have to pay my landlord, the power company. Isaiah 33, right? The eviction moratorium is about to end. People are about to be put out by their landlord.
Wow.
The cities are going to look. Oh, wait, Elcount said, "Come out of her" also means coming out of filthy cities just before destruction from Yah. Lot came out of Sodom. Several times he called his people out of Jerusalem right before mashing it. That's right. And we forego the warning. We're like Lot's wife, Ado. But look at all the things that I'm leaving back in Sodom. You can't even focus on what Yah has for you ahead of you because you're so damn worried about what you left behind. That's why you can't move forward.
Yep. Servants of convenience.
Oh, man.
But Egypt was so comfortable. They had this system in place and that system in place and this safety net and that safety net. And if I don't have those, well, what am I going to do? I can't do that because, someone will give you some very practical, old past remedies. Oh, I can't do that. That's so inconvenient. I can't do that. I got to stick my hands in the ground and what? I can't do that. I got to deal with the gore of raising my own animals to slaughter. That's gross. Oh. Like you eat meat though, right? Yeah, I eat it, but I can never slaughter it. People just say some crazy stuff like
they do.
Oh, so really what you're saying, you just serve your lowercase EL of convenience.
Oh.
Your gods of convenience. That's what it is. Just say that. Just quit saying you serve Yah. Just be real. But see, we live in this society where people are deceived enough to believe that if you say it, then it's true. Oh, I'm Israel. Oh, I'm a believer. Oh, I serve Yah. Therefore, you do. I can't do that. That's so inconvenient. But didn't Yah say not to despise that stuff? He told you to do it and don't despise that work. Go grow your food. Be willing to sweat. Oh, that's so stinky and dirty. And?
Didn't he say, hate not husbandry, which the Most High hath ordained?
Oh, but that's so old, and all those animals are so stinky, and the ground is, and it's so hot. Just all these plethora of excuses. That's it.
And they never want it until the first drop hits dude in his forehead.
Yep.
Now suddenly like, he wants to be the greatest. Suddenly it's what? How do I plant green beans? I mean,
brother, you have more of those seeds to sell? You know, the ones you were talking about week in and week out that you had available for years? You have any, Leo? No, I don't.
Actually, no, I don't.
No.
Those are for me and my close brothers right now. I'm sorry. People have to really understand. Yeah, hell no. People have to understand Yah doesn't work on their time. He doesn't just sit, they take that verse, I stand at the door and I knock. They take that to mean he's just sitting there forever. Most of y'all know if Publishing Clearinghouse came to your door and knocked, and you looked out your little peephole and saw it was publishing night, they couldn't do it here. But if you live in a city, which is where Publishing Clearinghouse is, and you look out your peephole and you saw they had that big ass check holding it, you don't care if you in your rollers, you don't care if you in your pajamas, you're going to answer the door. But then whenever Yeshua stands at the door of your heart, of your life, and he knocks, you give him the never-ending waiting period.
I was almost persuaded, yeah.
I was about to come to the door, but I had to take the curlers out of my head. Then I had to go to the bathroom. Then I had to shave my legs. And then I had to go to the grocery store because the babies were hungry.
I almost came out. I was gonna come out, but then I remembered I had this or I had that. I
Right.
do this. I gotta do that. I was gonna do it though.
SOJ said the Jehovah's Witness treatment. Right. You look out the window and see it's Yahshua, you be like, children, shh.
Yeah.
Don't let them know you're here.
All the lights in the house go out.
The wood stove gets water thrown on it. We're just in the house freezing.
Oh man.
That's when it's Yahshua though. But if it's something else, oh man. Oh man. If it's, hey brothers, make the sacrifice for your families. Prepare. Time is short.
I almost had my wife stay home. I almost raised our own children at home. Almost.
And if you want to know, is it tough? Yes, it is. That's the way Egypt created it. They wanted it to be tough for you. They wanted it to be hard for you to make that decision.
They want to cause you to serve them.
They want to cause you to take your children to the public school system. They want to cause you, because you can't afford that house payment on your own income. They want to cause you to send your wife to work.
Yep.
They want to cause you to do whatever it is. And then when it comes to the mark, they're going to cause you to take it. Because they've already taught you and caused you to do everything else they wanted you to do. They caused you to get in debt.
That want to be different though, right? You'll have these people who not, from every ninth opportunity before, they compromise on all 9. But hey, with this mark, hey, I'm not taking that. I'll die before I take that. You're like, Nick, man, if you don't shut up, every opportunity you done had, you done compromise. That's your name.
Compromise.
But now you ain't gonna take the mark. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Like, nigga, don't your wife work? Ain't your kids in public school? But you ain't gonna take the mark? Are you kidding? Like, come on, man.
But but brother, I got these bills though, you know what I'm saying? Once I pay these bills off, I'm about to come out.
I'm gonna take that mark out too.
Right.
I'm gonna get it, but brother, I'm gonna take it out later.
It's a setup. They're training you.
Conditioning. Yep.
Condition. So part of that preparedness is not just putting back the food, the water, all that stuff, but is your family prepared? Do they have an understanding of why you are making the move? I hear men all the time, how do you convince your wife to... How do you convince her? How did you convince her to move out there with you?
Yeah.
Well, that's not the problem. The problem is that once I moved out here, I acquired 2 more. Shouldn't that be your question? How did you get 2 more wives to want to move with you? You're asking the wrong question. I didn't persuade her. I told her I'm moving. That's it. Brother David, did you do anything special? Did you juggle to get Sister Scott to come out there with you? Sister Nina?
Nope. Wasn't no persuading and none of that. Nope.
You didn't cut a deal? Let's make a deal.
I guess I cut a deal. Deal or no deal. Hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm thankful and grateful. It didn't even come to none of that because
Right.
she was lined in and tuned in and lined up with me. So as I moved, she was moving right with me. And then Nina came right in, stepping in, yeah.
Right.
Wow.
I'm confused.
I couldn't imagine being like, hey, yeah, I'm going to bring y'all in. I'm going to send you over here so you can get this job. You go over there so you can get this job. I'm going to kick back and, hey, man, I'm just going to manage everything. And it's going to work great for all of us. But I'm Israel. I guess if I say it enough times, it'll be true, right?
Right. In reality, the people are just saying it to convince themselves. They're like, I'm Israel, right, Brother David?
You wake up playing it every morning, singing it every morning, all the time. Listen to that song all the way to work, y'all. Children, y'all listen to this song on the way to school now.
Yeah.
I don't want you coming back here planting Caesar's flag because you're Israel.
Right. Brother Alex said, yeah, I'm Israel, but baby, you're almost late for your job at Taco Bell. Hey, babe, don't forget your hat.
Yeah.
As she out the door.
Make sure you listen to your boss now because you can't get fired. Submit to him. Do what he say.
We need this money.
Yeah. Man.
I know you're the weaker vessel, but you go to work. You listen to your boss. If he tells you, make sure you wear those pants that he likes.
Yeah.
He might give you a promotion.
Yep. And make sure you still got some energy for me when you come home now. I don't want to hear nothing about this weaker vessel stuff.
Right. Make sure you keep your head covering on. Well, baby, he doesn't want me to keep my head covering on. Well, then just take it off and just pray. Oh, gosh. It don't make no sense.
Man.
But we Israel. How about instead of always preparing as far as food and all that other stuff, which is great, how about, men, you prepare your house? Do the people in your house, are they even aware of what's coming? Have you taught them?
Man.
I'm just saying. But Brother Quentin Wells said we crazy.
Well, I'll tell you what. I just say this stuff, and I can say this, and we can joke about it, and I can say it very seriously because I have sacrificed. I could have easily sent my wife to work and had made things a whole lot easier on myself, had a whole lot of the niceties of life. Running the standard 2-income households.
Right.
And I didn't do that. I forsook a whole lot of stuff to keep my wife at home, to have my children raised in my house. And so I know it's possible. So I'm not saying it's easy. I understand when men talk about the difficulties of it, but I also know it's possible. So I don't, I'm not really too moved by the sob stories.
Because in order to have that, you're going to have to make a drastic change in your life.
Right.
I agree with you, brother. I could have had the land paid off a lot faster. And I could have gotten a lot more sleep and probably been a lot healthier in the long run.
Right.
Had I had Tanisha get a job and me get a job, instead of me working 60 to 70 a week, If we could have split it, I work 40, you work 40. But then there's just certain things that you know will come up. Like the whole 50-50. Well, nigga, I'm working 40, you working 40. It's the same damn thing. Don't let her make more money than you.
Yeah, get your own water. Nigga, I'm tired. I've been working all day just like you.
You'll find yourself with an apron in the kitchen making dinner for her.
Absolutely. Literally, not figurative. Literally.
Yep.
Come home from your job and cook dinner.
She'll come home from work wearing the pants, and you'll be in that kitchen with a thong on.
Dinner ready yet? You take the trash out yet?
Yep.
You got the babies fed yet?
Are the babies bathed?
Such and such time. I'm knocking at the door. You ain't ready?
Oh gosh.
Like, man, if this ain't some role reversal, I don't know what is.
Right.
Because you knocked and I wasn't ready? Ain't that what y'all said? Oh, shoot.
SOJ said looking like Melvin from Baby Boy. Right. 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 Man. Talking about you, the man. Talking about why can't I get my wife to submit to me? I can give you a couple reasons.
Like, man, you really want me to tell you?
Are you sure you want to know?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Oh, God. Well, are there any questions? We covered a lot of topics today. Are there any questions? We're not going to be on much longer. Me and Brother David enjoyed this.
And I'll say honor and blessings to you women and your heads who are out there submitting to your heads, your husbands.
Yes.
I understand it full well and knowing it's not because you couldn't do something else. It's because you actually have the audacity to believe this book and to choose to live it. And for all you other women who want to be rebels, be a rebel in that way. Rebel against this stinky ass culture that tells you to go out here and pretend to be a man. Rebel against that.
I have fully capable wives that could go out there and make some pretty damn good money. They ain't stupid. Brother Lamar, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Any questions? I know, when people tune in, they're like, they're talking about preparedness. You have to understand preparedness is more than the shit you have in the closet.
Right.
Is your family prepared? Does your wife even know her role? Or are you about to be in verbal conflict with her if you say, babe, we need to do this. We ain't doing that. We doing this. Yes, baby.
Man. Isaiah 33, he said, I do have a question. What can I do to keep coyotes away from my chickens? I lost all 20 and I have 5 goats. I was supposed to pick up today, but do not want them to die. Well, I would say get some dogs.
Yep.
And if you got that kind of a coyote problem, I can just tell you if it was me, I would do some, I would set up and be waiting for some things to show up, and then I would deal with it.
My answer would be dogs, and for the coyotes,
Brother Chris is an AK dude. I'm a AR-15 dude.
There you go. I would say 7.62 by 39.
And I'll say 5.56. But either way you go, rid yourselves of the coyotes.
Rid yourselves of the coyotes. Have a dog to let you know when they're nearby. Bang, bang.
You can't say, oh, I can't go out there because that would be scary, or that would be blah, 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 blah. Oh, remember all the stuff we were just talking about? The dogs did their job. They say, hey,
Yep.
there's something out here about to steal some more, kill some more chickens or goats. Come on out here, master, and get them. They here now. Then you got to say, good job, dogs. After you, of course, you took care of the cows
Yep.
with either your 7.62 or 5.56, whichever
Yep.
tool of choice you prefer.
Yep. You can even go cheap. You can do wolf or Tula. Field case.
There you go. Yep. Just know how to clear them jams.
Yeah.
If it happens. But I had some brass jam too, so I ain't hating on them.
Yeah. That's why I do the AKs, because the AK eats everything.
There you go.
It's like Pac-Man. It just eats it. But honestly, dogs are a great deterrent. Right. Brother Michael said he was ready in the tent for raccoons. Out here, we have everything. We have mountain lions. We have coyotes. We have raccoons. We have possums. We have stray cats. We have dogs that hunt in packs out here. We got everything. Brother David has a Tyrannosaurus Rex out there where he is.
Scott said, well, it's a little fun to hunt at night. You got to protect your own everything. That's life, and that's so true. Sometimes we get up and we have to go out at night, whether it's for possums that's getting into stuff or whatever else. You know, if it's becoming a problem, gird yourself up, take care of it.
Right. Right. I mean, you pay good money for your animals. You're raising them so that they can produce food for you and your family. Take care of that. And we'll hear them out here. You'll hear them, howling like crazy. I mean, at that point, how high should your fence be? Wow, 6 feet. I mean, my chickens are completely enclosed.
Yeah.
And even then, you'll still get the random animal in your chicken coop. I mean, it's almost impossible to keep animals out.
I would try to get you some. I mean, everything is dependent on your ability, and even if you have money, it's not a matter of having money versus not. Because if you have the resources, then it becomes a matter of it's appropriate to spend so much, but then over that amount, it's like, okay, I could do that, but then those resources could go to this project too. So you have to consider all those things. But I would just say, if you have your chickens, I would try to fortify them as best as you can. And if you have rocks on your property, maybe, put rocks across the bottom so the things that try to dig underneath can't get in. You could electrify the fence if that's an option for you. But again, I go back to maybe having good dogs and some night walks.
Yep.
Until the problem is eliminated.
I would say a good set of dogs go a long way. Absolutely. Because a lot of animals won't attack if they know that there are dogs. And I got some pretty good, mean dogs. Well, mean if I tell them to be mean. But very friendly to us. Brother David, when you say they're very friendly to you, but they know you. I don't think my dogs can even tell the difference between me and you. It's like sometimes when you come and you visit, my son will come running up to you and look at you and be like, like, wait a minute. This is the wrong man.
Oh, man.
A good set of dogs. Now, I would like to electrify fence. Electrified fencing is expensive. And you have to weigh that. Is it really worth it if I could just get a couple dogs and buy a bag of dog food?
Yeah.
Once a month?
And you just do so in the time that you're having attacks. This would be my recommendation. And the time that you're having attacks, you just schedule and do some night walks, and you eliminate the issue. And when that subsides, then you can slack off a little bit, but occasionally you just do it.
Right. I say night walks are important.
Yeah.
If you have a homestead, it's a good idea to arm up, take your flashlight, and just walk the perimeter. And that's not even necessarily always for the four-legged animals. Damn.
That's what it is. Because even though, regardless of where you are, even if you've come out, you are still on planet Earth.
You have to understand that there still is an enemy out there who don't like you, especially if you live in a set-apart lifestyle. Get out there. Go for a nice little walk.
So I hope that thoroughly answers your question.
Coyotes are afraid of donkeys. I ain't getting donkeys.
I mean, ultimately, there's a whole lot of stuff that you can get, and then you'll just be in the game of getting. I just think ultimately, besides dogs, I'd get some tools to deal with them. 7.62, 5.56, a good flashlight so you can see. Practice if you need it so you can hit your targets. Eliminate the threat.
Right.
They even have like some coyote calls that you can get on the speaker. Sit out there and let it play. And you're situated and waiting. Take care of business. That's what homesteading is. You know, see threat, handle threat. Done.
Yeah, homesteading's a lot different than city living. There's a lot more responsibility on you as the man.
Absolutely.
And whatever plans you have in effect for your family. But again, if you look in the Bible, Yah did not have a stupid people. Yah had a very intelligent people. We've allowed ourselves to be foolish and ignorant and stupid, but that was not his way. But the coyote head. Any more questions?
I tell you what, you can, if you get one, I guess you can send it over here and we can taxidermy it.
Right.
And you can stake it out there so they'll know.
They're like, oh, damn.
Hey, you probably can put it on a stink, but it might stink after a short time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Probably be like, hey, that's my cousin. I'm definitely getting your chickens now.
Oh, man. Any other questions?
Yeah. So make sure y'all preparing, please. Don't listen to these news stories and watch what's happening in the world and just pretend like you're dumb. And don't for 1 second let that complacency spirit, well, I'm y'all's people, so I ain't got to worry about it. If you read throughout the whole book, through the story of Maccabees, the story of Mattathias, Yah's people had to be aware and oftentimes had to fight. We weren't a passive people.
That's it.
We weren't a pitiful. We were an active, prudent people. We were oftentimes known for seeing something ahead of time and already having something, a plan ready to be enacted.
He said the skunks eat chickens because there are holes under the fence. I don't know if a skunk would eat a chicken or not. I'm not sure. But if you have a hole under the fence, depending on, Could be a raccoon.
Yeah. Or a possum.
Or possums. Yep.
I have found possums and raccoons in my chicken coop, and my chicken coop is completely secure, I thought. Yeah. And they're getting in somehow. Now my chickens will sound that they're real loud when it's in there. I know to go respond, but they'll get in there.
Feathers everywhere.
I think. Yeah. So you have foxes too, don't you? Yeah, I don't have foxes.
Yeah, last time when we butchered the last of I think it was when we did the last of the meat birds that we did, and Sky looked up like, oh, what is that? There was a fox, pretty close. So, of course, I kind of went out towards it, and when I did, that one kind of ran out, but I saw another two, so they were staking it out, waiting.
Oh.
Now, I don't think they were waiting to come for us. I think they were waiting like, hey, where are they going to get rid of these scraps because they could smell it. But either way, they were here, and they were within 300 feet for sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Isaiah 33, I talked about that article that I read about the shooting, where there was 8 different crime scenes. Because that guy in Phoenix was shooting from car to car. So, those of us in this space, you got to be careful. If you're not out, you need to really consider. Look at what's happening in the cities. They're turning the war zone. You don't want to be the person that because you're worried about this or you're worried about that, you're always looking back, you don't make the move.
Yep. Imprisoned to complacency and convenience.
Man. Jay Moore, Shabbat Shalom, brother.
Not do it at all.
Right.
Some people say, hey, well, if it ain't worth doing, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. Well, if it's worth doing wrong first.
Yep.
If it comes down to you waiting to get it right or it being perfect, you just may not ever do it. Sometimes you just have to say, hey, I'm just doing it. And I might make mistakes along the way. In fact, I could assure you that you will. I did and I do. There will be mistakes along the way. But that I will gladly take that any day over the week versus having to stay to wait until I have the plan perfectly solidified and everything lined up. No, sometimes it's just worth doing it wrong first, if that's where you're at.
Right. I want to say shalom to Sister Hawaii. She said, we got us a guard donkey. One guard donkey can whoop the snot out of 5 coyotes. That is true.
Oh, there you go.
A lot of people out here actually they'll buy a donkey and put it with their goats, and them donkeys are serious. Bless you. But for the same what Brother David said, one of the things that I've encountered with a lot of brothers is because we're in this space, people have given other men the impression that you're going to walk this thing out perfectly. If you follow me and do what I say, you're going to walk it out perfectly. Bullshit.
Yep.
You're going to make mistakes. Our forefathers made mistakes. I'm not saying you should go out there and try to make mistakes. What I am saying is sometimes we're so afraid to listen to the Father and move that we sit back and we act like we never heard from the Father because we're so afraid to make a mistake. Do you not think that if you were moving and I'm telling you, I've done it. I've made a mistake and I thought I heard from the Father and I was moving in what I thought was obedience to him and it ended up being the wrong thing. But do you know that his mercy always prevented me from falling as far as I should have fallen?
Yes, sir.
Because he knew that I was moving in obedience to what I thought was him.
Yes, sir.
And now he can tell me and I'll go. I'll just go. It doesn't have to make sense to me. I'm a bride. I'm his wife. It doesn't have to.
You mean you could just act on faith, meaning you hadn't seen all the evidence, you didn't see all the end of it before you can move? You can just say, hey, I don't know how it's going to turn out or what it all looks like. I just know y'all said it, so I'm doing it. That's it.
Right. I mean, I can say when we both bought our property, we didn't know how it was going to turn out.
Absolutely not.
We didn't buy our property in areas where people look like us. In fact, we were the Waldo.
Yes,
Where's
sir.
Waldo? We were the one wearing the white and red striped shirt and
Yes,
beanie.
sir.
Everybody knew we were there.
Yep, absolutely.
Everybody. That's what he said to do. So I went and did it.
Didn't have fat mansions here waiting on us. We came and we built it.
I had a trailer given to me by Pastor Fox, and had he not given it to me, it would have been a tent. We all had our start from somewhere. But the question really is, are you going to obey or not? Because if you're thinking that, well, I'm going to move and I'm going to have my house set up because that's what y'all wants from me. And it may be what he wants for you. I can't say it's not. What I am saying is, y'all been fed some crap. That it's going to look perfect.
And I will always go back to it, and I think that mostly falls under the category of you maybe knowingly or unknowingly just serving convenience.
Yep.
I think that a lot of people know what needs to be done, but when they get to a point where they really start to distill down what that looks like, they crumble and say, I can't do that.
Can't do that.
I can't do that. Who told you that? Who said you couldn't? Why would y'all have commanded it if you couldn't? I got some. Come out if you have a big fat house waiting on you, or come out if everything is lined up and prepared. Where do you see that in the book?
Right.
That's not
you
what
don't see it at all.
Our forefathers did. I think they came out because y'all said come out, and then they paved the way, and they created something out of nothing. That's what I see when I read it.
They paved the way for people like us, brother.
Absolutely.
And I got some videos.
Possible.
Right. We know it's possible because we can look in the book and say, well, they did it. And really, y'all be surprised. That's what we really went off of.
Absolutely.
We didn't go off some modern story of somebody that did it. I went to the book and I saw, well, our forefathers did it. I'm calling on Yah. And if Yah is who he says he is, then it'll be what it is. But if Yah's not who he is and he's full of shit, and I say that, I don't mean that in an antichrist way, but you know what?
We're about to find out either way.
We about to find out.
Yep.
We about to find out. Is Yah who he says he is?
And have you ever been let down when you make that step? Has he ever led you astray?
Now, let me tell you, he has tested me in the fire to make sure I was serious about what I was doing.
Yes, sir.
It was never, I thought I was testing him. In reality, I was just testing myself. He was never in doubt. I was always in doubt.
Yep.
And sometimes it was even a matter of, I was just proving it to myself. Absolutely. He already knew the beginning from the end. He wanted me to see what was inside of me.
Absolutely. I completely agree, which is why I say all the time, I don't care how set up or established you are, it's important to continue to do hard things to test and prove yourself.
Man.
It is. Prove to yourself that you are still who you think that you are.
Man. I mean, when Yeshua talks to the 7 churches of Revelation 2 and 3, the one word he uses consistently is overcome.
There it is.
We don't know how to overcome anything anymore. Everything that else has to be easy and laid out perfectly so we can walk it.
Right. We're so used to seeing the movie version of it. You can see the end and then say, oh, yeah, I would do that. I would follow that. But you fail to realize, and even, I think a lot of people, and I know I don't want to get in too far on this because we're wrapping it up, but
Yes,
a lot of people even read the Bible in that way because we have the benefit of seeing the whole matter, but we fail to realize that, hey, when they were going through this and walking this out, they didn't know the end yet. They moved because he said move.
Man.
And we have to stop looking at this as if it's a movie, as if we're going to know everything ahead of time, because that's not faith. That's not what we're called to. We're called to hear his voice and respond to it and move, and then trust and obey. That's it. That's it. And I can do that saying, hey, if that's to the, prolonging of my life, hallelujah. And if that's to my death, hallelujah. I was obedient to Yah. My life is his, not mine.
My life meant something. Some people look for all these modern conveniences and popularity and fame to bring meaning to their life. Meaning to my life was brought by the simple fact that Yah called me. And for once in my life, it all made sense. I actually had a meaning. So that's what I pursued. And women, that could be you. You could look at it and say, man, my husband is right there. I could actually have meaning. But you see it as an attack on your pride because you think your meaning is something else. My meaning is only in Yah. Your meaning is in your husband. Anything else outside of that is not of Yah. Period. But it looks like we got no more questions. And the reason why we didn't do a stream on deliverance is because simply read your Bibles. Brothers and sisters, read your Bibles. And every once in a while, sometimes we even get drawn off on things that had nothing to do with anything.
Yep.
Yeshua tells you how to do it. It's in his name. He even says that there are going to be those that heal in his name that are lawbreakers. So I let you know, all you have to do is do it in his name. There you go. Which means you have to have faith. Which kind of is alarming because that means that there are people that actually believe in the name of Yeshua who are not Torah keepers, who don't keep Yah's law more than those that keep Yah's law. Man.
Just read the book and dare to believe it and live it.
We dare you to read the book and believe what it says. That's our dare to y'all. Men. Just read the book and we dare you to believe.
And if it leads your life to elongated life, hallelujah. And if it leads you to death, hallelujah. Because your life, if you're his, your life belongs to him and not you.
Ooh. Man.
We've risked our lives for lesser causes. Dare to read and believe this book. We love y'all.
We love y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the stream. The words that were said. I hope that they provoke sort of thought.
Absolutely.
That you can walk. So if you listen to it carefully, we hit on first that which is natural, we hit on the natural, and then without even knowing it, we hit on the spiritual. Hallelujah. Bro, David, go ahead and close on up.
And you're looking you're looking at two brothers who have done it, who are doing it. I know Brother Chris is far from perfect. I'm far from perfect. So if I look at us and we're here and we're doing it, then again, I'll just say it is possible for you. You can do it. You just have to dare to believe this book and then decide and choose you this day whom you will serve. But understand full well, just as it says, you cannot serve two masters. You cannot. You'll hate the one or you'll hold to the one and forsake the you cannot. Choose you who you will serve. And then choose it and then walk with it. And of course, our admonishment to you is choose life, choose Yah so that you might live. He is the creator of the heavens and the earth and everything that there is in them. So if anyone knows the way, he does. But it's up to us to choose to serve him. So my prayer, my admonishment is that you be not hearers only, but that you be doers. You show us your faith by your works, by what you do. And when you find that variance between here's what Yah says and here's what you want, you move. Die to yourself. Mortify yourself daily.
Hallelujah. We love y'all.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.